Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. I'm joined by the brilliant LB, Dan Potts, both in the house. How you doing, boys?
I'm good. I don't know if LB is, but I'm good.
Oh God, I've been looking forward to this show since Sunday, boys. I can't lie. I've been like, you know what? The show I can't wait to do this week. Yeah, the show where the chat love me. Yeah, Potts is going to be really friendly. You know what I mean? The only good news is United lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so if Terry gives it me, I'm going to give it back. Pause. Yeah, but we will be there. But yeah, listen, we got to hold it. We got to hold the L. And yeah, we got cooked, boys. We got cooked.
Can you do the face that's on the overlay right now? Is that a
Mate, what do you mean? Can I do the face? This is all instant reaction, bro. Yeah?
Oh, is it? It's not.
Yeah,
I've heard a rumor that all watch along people fake, just like my laugh. I've heard it's all fake. It's like WWE.
Yeah. No, it's not. It can't be done on demand, mate. It can't be done on demand, unfortunately.
Honestly, for years I've loved your reactions. Because back in the day, it was rare though that you lost, so you very rarely got, oh no.
Yeah.
But now it's a regular thing, bro. Love it, love it. Viewers, you know what you got to do: hit the like buttons, make sure you're subscribing, make sure the bell notifications are turned on, and all of that. Plus, we've got a little goal for you today when it comes to the super chats, and if we hit the target, one of you will be pulled out at random, and you'll win 2 tickets to watch a Premier League team of your choice. And we'll give that 10 free memberships to the audience as well. So get your super chats in as well. And there's a little bit of a reward in it for you as well. Obviously, loads to talk about today. Absolutely lots. We're going to get onto City. We're going to get onto the beating they took, but also the very good January transfer window that they've had. On paper, of course, we've got to see the players play. We'll be talking about Arsenal, big game tomorrow night against Newcastle for them. Arteta today calling out KSE for the poor window, plus the big bomb really from Ornstein about the potential of Watkins and that Villa actually offered him to Arsenal has now transpired. So we're going to be getting your opinions on all of that. But I did want to start with Manchester United. And I suppose the question I want to start with is, have Ineos let Amorim and Manchester United down in this January window, Potsy?
Massively. It's a shambolic window for Arsenal. It's a shambolic window for Manchester United. It is an absolute mess what I've seen at that squad. And I think there's a lot of Man United fans that have now come to realization that this squad is absolutely dusty. And the Manchester United board and the Ineos and the ownership and everybody that's a part of it have let the club down massively in this transfer window. And it's going to be rinse and repeat when we come to Arsenal. Trust me, because I'm ranting about that. As much as it's great that we beat LB's team, trust me, there'll be lots of rants coming about the state of what's happened in the last few weeks for Arsenal. But Manchester United have got a hold an L here, Tell. It's absolutely embarrassing that, I don't mean to use the pun, but Tell has gone to Spurs ahead of Manchester United. There's more on that, which I'll let you break. But I look at the situation and I think that's a madness that they're picking Spurs over Manchester United. Some people might look at the deal and say, well, of course he's going to pick Spurs because of X, Y, and Z in that deal. And Manchester United didn't offer that. But if that's who they wanted, they should have got it across the line. If Ineos are actually serious and this new structure is to get Amorim in, you've got to back him, because we saw Ten Hag backed. He was given all the players he wanted. The Antonys of this world were coming in. The Malassias was coming in. Then he's gone into the midfield. X, Y, and Z has come in. Amorim's got to be allowed to do that. And to get Patrick Dorgu across the line, which is a good signing from what we hear. I don't know anything about him, but apparently he's highly rated. Really, you're looking at the wing-backs now going, okay, Mazraoui and Dalot can do their job in that role. And obviously now you've brought Dorgu. But other than that, it's the same team that's been poor for Ten Hag now. So what is this Amorim actually going to do with this lot? Because they've already let this manager down. Now, a lot of people said it was Ten Hag, and trust me, it was not a good manager. From my opinion, he really wasn't a good manager. But Amorim's trying to get these same dead teams across the line. And look at the state of it. It's just an absolute mess. I mean, I look at it against Palace. My God. I mean, Palace are doing all right at the moment, but they're not a team that you'd look at and shake in your boots when they come to the ground. I thought it was a disgrace of a performance again. I think they're just letting each other down now. The players have just got to look at themselves and say, are we good enough for this football club? And if we are, then we need to start playing like it. There's absolutely nothing that I can look at with Amorim and say, wow, yet. But there's certainly not me going, well, this guy's not good either. When people start blaming managers this early on, there's a problem with the fan base, in my opinion. Because if Amorim's now being looked at as not good enough either, then I think people need to start waking up and realizing that there's a bigger problem at Manchester United. And maybe that problem has been removed or a part of that problem's been removed. But when you look at the next steps, this is going to take time. This team aren't good enough. Your front line is atrocious. I look at your front four now, Tel, right? It's absolutely abysmal. I can't remember the last time Man United were this bad in the front line. Garnacho, who they said they wanted, gone. Rashford, who's now gone and not been replaced with anybody. Then you've got Højlund, who I think is a complete utter waste of money. Xerxes, who doesn't even look like a footballer, right, in my opinion. And that's it. That's your front line. How many of those guys are going to get anywhere near 10 goals, let alone 5 or 6? Like, it's absolutely mad for me to think that Manchester United's front line, something that I grew up on being very jealous of. When I grew up, you had the Eric Cantona's of this world, Brian McClare, very underrated player, Mark Hughes. Then you went to the next level and you got Dwight York and Andy Cole, Solskjaer and Sheringham on your bench. On your bench, Sheringham and Solskjaer. This is the Man United I grew up with. Then people will go that are a little bit younger than me will say, well, they had Rooney, Van Persie, Welbeck and Chicharito. Yes, and look at what you've got now. This is mad that Man United fans are still sticking up for this. Oh, well, they'll come good. You spent £100 million on Højlund and Xerxes, man. I can't believe we're not seeing more Man United fans calling this out. It was Ten Hag. It was Ten Hag. It was Ten Hag. Now is it Amorim? Because it's the same results. They're terrible. Manchester United should be nowhere near 14th, 15th place. It's an absolute disgrace.
What you said there about the management thing before I go to LB and have my saying Ineos is very true. And I don't mean this as a personal attack on anybody. If you take it that way, I genuinely apologize. United fans have got to stop listening to pundits, journalists, YouTubers, TikTokers, Twitter people who just solely think sacking a manager and changing him at Man United is the problem. We've been doing this show together for the best part of a year, and you probably all heard me say that 20, 30 times, thinking that doesn't mean a manager is beyond criticism, but thinking I wanted Ten Hag out, but not because I thought he was the sole problem and him by himself leaving was going to fix us. I'm already seeing United fans completely turn on Amorim. And normally, if you do 5 minutes of digging, you find they were a big Ten Hag in person. Some of them are still going back to, literally, people are going back to, I knew we should have never got rid of Ollie, you know. I've seen tweets that literally say, since we sacked Ollie, the club died. And honestly, my genuine opinion on all those Man United fans is that you all deserve this space that we're in. You deserve it. An opinion like that almost deserves this type of performance and outcome. And I just mean that from that opinion is so bad that you deserve some type of footballing punishment, and that's one of them. So I do agree with you. The idea of turning on Amorim right now is ridiculous because it doesn't matter what manager we have. We are trying to do the right thing on paper, which is implement a set style and build a squad that's fit for it. Didn't buy enough players. We did buy someone. Didn't buy enough players this January, no doubt. But I'm now hearing people literally go, we just got to play to the players mean. Well, you're the same people that have moaned for 11 years that we didn't have a set style of play. It's crazy. But LB, in terms of this January window, Man United have briefed the press that work's being done for the summer. They didn't see value in some of the players they were looking at. And it's going to essentially, they're planning for a big summer where you will see significant purchases that help Ruben Amorim. Do you think that's PR? Or is it about maybe keeping our powder dry as Man United fans and seeing what they deliver in the summer?
There's probably a little bit of PR in there because for me, you can already identify some players in that squad that are not going to fit his system. Yeah. Here's the thing, right? When they decided to get Amorim, they knew, and I think anyone who knows about football, right? A lot of those players are not going to fit his system because playing that system, yeah, is a specialist system and you need specialist players. Not all over the gaff, but a lot of the positions are specialists. Playing left wing back compared to playing left back, it's a completely different role. Don't care what anyone says. It's a completely different position. Playing as a centre back in a back three is completely different. Don't take my word for it. Listen to what all the ex-pros say. Yeah, listen to a lot of the English, old English players. Yeah, back in the day, they said you couldn't do it. No, a couple of managers came into England, tried to do it, and these defenders, they couldn't do it. It's a completely different system. You're going to need completely different players. And what does that need? Money. It needs money and it needs time. So I'm not saying that appointing Amorim was the wrong decision, right? However, if you're going to appoint Amorim, you've got to be patient because it's going to take years because you're going to have to basically rebuild the entire squad. You're going to have to spend a lot of money because a lot of the players will not fit the system and you have to buy a lot of players. And you've got to be prepared that it might just not work. Don't guarantee that this is going to work, by the way. So I think that they've been brave to get Amorim at Manchester United. They might have been a little bit naive. Should they have? I think this all goes back to they should never have kept Ollie in the summer. Yeah, they should never have kept Ollie in the summer. They should have got Ten Hag. Sorry, Ten Hag. They should never have got. They should never have kept Ten Hag in the summer. They should have got rid of him in the summer, and they should have brought in. If Amorim was the one they wanted, they should have brought him in the summer and started the process. Amorim is gonna fail this year at Manchester United because he's not got the players to do it. And for me, I'm hearing people say Amorim should change his style to suit the players. If he does that, he'll be sacked in a year. He cannot afford, to change his style for these players because these players will get him the sack because they've got everybody else the sack. They've got Ten Hag. Ten Hag did this. Ten Hag came in and remember in the first couple of months, he said, I can't play the way I want to play with these players. So he adapted the style. He should have come in there, right, and just said, I'm playing my way. And what it will do, it will be bad because it will highlight players who cannot do the job. But then it's easy because then you know the players that can't do it and the players that you need to sell. But it's going to take a long time, man. And the question is that do the Manchester United fans have patience? Because we're now 12 years on from the last Premier League title. 12 years. If I would have said to United fan after they won the league in 2013, it's going to be 12 years until you're not going to win a league for 12 years, they'd have me locked up. And how long? Serious question for you guys in the chat. How long is it going to be until they win another title? Because I don't see them winning a title in the next 2 or 3 years because of the sheer amount of work that needs to be done. So we're probably talking 15 years since the last one. That is absolutely insane. And it's because of the way they've been managed. And we'll have to see how it works, man. But it's going to take a lot of money. A lot of these players are not good enough. And how long is it going to take?
Just quickly, LB, 245 million euros has been spent between now and the summer. Would you not rather have given that 250 million or majority of that to Ruben Amorim? You've allowed it to give it to Ten Hag. Now, I'm not saying that there were Ten Hag players, but obviously Ineos players. But surely you'd not be sitting there going, that 250 is going to be set on a system that Amorim might bring in. Because they have wanted those players.
And that's the mistake in the summer. I think we've bought some players that are multifunctional across both systems. So I've actually been quite happy with the lit. I've been by and large happy with Mads, but he's not a wing back. He needs to be playing one of the defensive roles. Lenny Yoro's young, so I'm not judging him as of now. I think Ugarte does his job. He did his job against Palace perfectly. He won that ball back so regular, but he's not that creator. Xerxes been a bust. There's no doubt about it. He had that very good performance when he came on against Arsenal. Very good substitute appearance against Southampton. But since then, he's been as poor as he was prior to that, as an example. We don't know much about Patrick Adorgu yet. He hasn't played a game. I'm not overly concerned about the money we spent in the summer, barring the 30 to 40 million on Xerxes. The rest of it, I still think's done us okay and will be part of this squad. But 80 to 90% of this squad, before we signed any of those players, had to go. The changing mid-season, LB, you actually called it, and I've given you credit for this before. I'll give you credit again. I remember you saying when we kept Ten Hag, you're writing the whole season off if this goes wrong. I didn't think it would be as bad as that if it went wrong. You were absolutely spot on. Because now we've gone for what we should have done in the summer. We don't have the wing backs for it. And maybe if Ruben was here, given that extra guidance, it would have been, listen, if you're going to spend money this summer, get me my wing backs. If you read anything, and I implore United fans that are panicking, read and watch content about Ruben's system prior to him being the Man United manager. Forget anything that's been written afterwards that you think is like propaganda to make him sound better than he is. Read stuff from 18 months ago. His wing backs are his most important players on the pitch. The wing backs, they enable the back five when we're defending, but they make it a 5-man attack when we're attacking. The reason it looks like we're playing 5 at the back and only like 2 or 3 in attack is because our wing backs, one, don't have the legs in the engine to get up and down the pitch for 90 minutes, and they're not comfortable doing that. So then what happens is our 10s have to keep giving us the width, which then means our strikers are completely isolated. So from a tactical point of view, it isn't working right now, but it's about the personnel that's needed. I agree, LB. We shouldn't be, for a single second, we shouldn't be thinking about yielding upon this upon creating a system and a style. And this is, I stand by that, because that's bucking the trend. I don't want us to operate how we did for the last 11 years, where managers, essentially, I saw someone tweet this today. I think it might have been Goldbridge, to be fair. We've got to stop the tail wagging the dog. And it's the truth. It's absolutely spot on. We have to do it a different way. In terms of this window, I am very disappointed that we haven't purchased more players. However, I've got to be fair, or I sound like a hypocrite. I'm going to take them at their word that the summer's going to be good. I'm going to take them at their word that the players that we could have signed this month would have been what we would have perceived as panic buys. Good, but maybe not good enough. However, I'm going to give them.
Terry, you're excusing the poor window.
I'm not. Hear me out.
We got this at our club.
But hear me out, though. Hear me out. If they don't deliver this summer, then the rough from me individually is going to be more than you're seeing from any other Man United fan now. I agree, very, very poor. However, we've had poor Januaries before and then wasted money on players like Wout Weghorst that just took up 5 million in loan fees, exactly, right? So I don't want to go that far either. The point I would make is this. I was talking to one of my friends earlier. He said, he said to me, do you like Watkins? I went, yeah. Say we could have got Watkins for 50 million, but that eats into the budget and now we can't get Gyökeres in the summer. Who would you prefer? It's like Gyökeres. Therefore, for 6 months of Watkins and then no Gyökeres, which would you rather do? Wait or get the man you want? So my preference is wait for the man I want. However, they've got to deliver that. So from my point of view, I totally concur. It's a disgraceful January. What I'm not going to do just yet is throw baby out with the bathwater. If, however, we go through the summer and we don't sign a new striker, we are lacking in the fullback positions, no extra creativity and power is added to the central midfield area. That's for me when you look at it and go, well, I'm never going to trust another thing you say on transfers, because you've got to now deliver. You have to now deliver. You cannot go through the summer and not give this man 4, 5, maybe even 6 players that are suited to what he's got to do.
I was going to say 5. I was going to say 5. I think you need 5 players.
So I'm just, again, I don't want to be a hypocrite, because I've said this will take years to get right. I don't want to be a hypocrite because I've said in many other Januaries, why are we buying him? Yeah, I know we want bodies, but he's shit. Why are we buying him? That's stupid. We've seen the deal today Spurs have done. And the deal is 10 million euros, all of his salary, £60 million buy option. Most Man United fans that were angry yesterday are now saying, oh, that's well too much for him. And that's almost my point. If we would have agreed that deal, I think we'd be getting ridiculed today for maybe gambling too much money on a 19-year-old. Let's be honest. If you go back through what people were saying about Tell last week, half the United fan base, half the Arsenal fan base, even a lot of the Spurs fans, is he good enough? Is he all right? I don't even know. And if you've got a player who you as football fans, if we're all split on that, whether he's good enough or not, I think a 10 million euro fee is a little bit too much. Now, objectively, I like him. Sorry, subjectively speaking, I like Tell. I think he's going to work out. But I also have to be open-minded enough to go, well, Arsenal weren't sure, United weren't sure. I mean, Bayern Munich are not that bothered. That's always a sign for me, isn't it? They've got it wrong with Gravenberch, of course. But yeah, I'm angry. I'm frustrated for Ruben. At the same time, I'm going to give it a bit more time. I'm just in that frame of mind, because this is, as much as United fans, I think, Woodward isn't here anymore, as an example. It isn't the same people making those key decisions by and large. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the huge doubt that is there. But if this summer comes and we don't sign a proper bagsman up front, I'm not talking about a 19-year-old centre forward with potential. If we don't go and get an Osimhen, a Gyökeres, a player that can score us goals, say all the big boys take them because we're awful. We're not in the Champions League. Go and get me Chris Wood. Get me someone who's older and can score goals, right? That's what I mean. Go and sign a striker. And if the top 3 or 4 targets get taken by Arsenal and City and Liverpool, still go and get one. If we don't do that in the summer, where we sign much better players than what we've got that can play this system, then I'm going to be at a point where I look at it and go, oh, I'm really worried now about this rebuild. Not just for Amorim, but long-term as well. So, yeah, awful January. They've got a massive summer ahead of them now, Ineos, to get this squad sorted. And
do you think Amorim? Let me ask you a question.
You go on, mate.
So that whole everything you've just said there is basically, long story short, I'm gonna flip if they don't sort it out in the summer, right? That's basically what you said, summarized, right? If we get 2-3 weeks before the start of the season and they've not done enough business, do you reckon Amorim might walk? Because let me put it to you this way: his stock before he joined Manchester United was one of the highest stocks as a manager in Europe, right? Liverpool apparently spoke to him. West Ham spoke to him. He just beat City 4-1. He was the guy that like everybody was looking at to say, I think City were linked with him before Pep signed his contract. Like he was basically being touted with every single big job around Europe. Probably the only one he wasn't with was Real Madrid. That was probably a little bit too big for him, right? He's probably looking at this mess going, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? These players cannot play my system. If he gets to sort of 2-3 weeks before the start of the season and you've not done the business and he's looking around these players, yeah, and going, I'm going to struggle again. Do you think he might just go, you've broke your promises, I'm getting off? Or do you reckon he's just going to keep going and degrade it and then potentially, degrade his stock as a manager?
I think he could and should. If we get to the start of next season and we've signed, I mean, I mentioned Chris Wood. The point I was making is if all the top strikers go, he's still much better than what we've got, right? We'd have to get someone in. I wouldn't want to get to the end of next summer and, well, we couldn't get Yorkeles, we couldn't get Šeško, we couldn't get Osimhen, we couldn't get Isak. All that was left was Chris Wood, and we didn't think he was value for money. So we're sticking with what we've got. That type of decision making, he should walk. It was reported early in the window, and it's been reiterated again, that there was an understanding that there may not be much business in this January window. So let's just give benefit of the doubt here to Ruben that he understood that there may not be much business. But they're promising, and they're now publicly promising that the summer they're going to spend. So as I've said, I will stop trusting Ineos on transfer talk if they don't deliver in the summer. However, Ruben, if they don't give him the 5 or 6 players that he needs to progress, he should walk. I then hope he walks because that sends a message to everybody. And like you said earlier on, there are no guarantees any of this is going to work. And I've been very open about that from the beginning. I like a lot of the new approaches. I like the idea of the structure, trying to get a new stadium built. These things are very different to what we've seen before. However, I'm not just going to bury my head in the sand and pretend that it's all just going to be okay. Scrutiny still needs to exist. I have been called by Twisted Bubba, Terry Splinterbum. I am a little bit on the fence with this, and I've got the confidence and peace of mind to say, yes, I am on the fence. But that's purely because I'm 39 years old, and I don't really want to be on the internet screaming and kicking off today, going, it's all shit and it's never going to work, only for in 6 months or 8 months or 18 months' time to be like, oh, I love Ineos. Look at they're doing some of our club. Just for people to clip it up and said, you said they were trash a few months ago. I'm very mindful. I have moments where I want to rant like that because I'm emotional about my club. But I am staying firmly on the fence, if you want to call it that. I just call it being neutral at this point. I'll criticize what's going wrong. I've seen really good things that they're also doing. So, for instance, not panic buying and going, oh, there's 20 million for Eddie Nketiah. That's the kind of thing we've done before. Go back over the last 11 years. That's the crazy shit we've done. So the fact that we haven't done that is a positive.
But the fact that you've not done anything other than this right back,
I'm also criticizing them, and I think this is for Man United fans to remain patient. I think you have to be balanced in your analysis. It's almost impossible to stay patient if you're one or the other. So I'm open-minded to it, and I think that I'm not on anyone's camp, and I think that's why both camps kind of dislike me on this debate, because I suppose both camps want you in there fighting their fight, I suppose. But for me, if by the end of this window, to answer your question fully and frankly, they haven't given him anywhere near enough to massively improve this team, I would advocate for Ruben Amorim to walk from the football club. There's also some players. I remember saying this maybe 4 years ago. Martial and Greenwood's situations obviously turned out to be very different. And Rashford, where I said, if we don't start improving, leave, lads. You're too good of players to be here. You'll get ruined by it. I'll maintain that same energy. And look, I've put a lot of hope into what Ineos are doing. As I say, look, they're trying to build us a new 100,000 seat stadium. There are some really good things that they've done, but no one is beyond criticism. And this January is a shambles. We didn't do enough. We've tried to, but yeah, look, it's going to be a very, very, very hard last sort of 4.5 months of the season for Ruben getting something out of this squad. I'm actually hopefully goes to the academy and tries to take some players out of there, because I think they'll do better than some of the first teamers that we've got. I'm excited to see Dorgu. Look, I'm happy with that deal. I wouldn't even mind seeing some of the youngsters like Kone and Obi Martin that we've signed. Honestly, I love Mainu, but let's not put him in that fucking false 9 role again. Let's play him in the 10 role. Very good. This is the annoying bit. It's where we'll criticize Amorim. Mainu was amazing in the Europa League in that 10 role. He was brilliant. And then come the weekend, I'm like, okay, let's see that again. It looked good. Stuck him in the false 9 role. And it was like, oh no, this is... After the first 10 minutes, he's like, oh no, this is really shit, you know. So he's also got to learn from that as well and not make those mistakes again. But yeah, look, it's going to be a very hard remainder of the season for us. There's no doubt about it. There's got some of these super chats here that have come in. Joshua says, I don't like the talk of the summer now because we have to get first. We have to get it first. But I said it yesterday. He should have walked. We have the worst attack in the league. Give him a body, especially when he lost a player. I understand that. I would say the thing with walking now, I've seen a lot of people tweet that today. Again, it's about being balanced. If they've lied to him already, then yes, I advocate that. If they've completely lied, if they said we're dropping 200 mil for you in January and they haven't, I get walking. If they said it's going to be a quiet January but a big summer, then I still think he's got to wait. Because what I will say, if they do start spending right and he does build a team that starts to work, can you imagine the level of the accolades he'll get, the respect he'll get if he's the man that helps turn Man United around? So if I was him, I wouldn't be walking just yet, unless they've completely lied to me, but I get that point. Some fans expect miracles. Some United fans think changing the system will suddenly make a bang average squad win. I think that's also a thing for a lot of people. They've advocated for the squad the whole time. It's just the manager, the squad's banging. And now they see it not working. So I think there's a lot of ideology. I'm sure you guys get this in your own fan bases and you notice it on your channels where some people, they just want their opinion to be right. So they'll attack whatever entity is in the way of their opinion being correct. And some people still want to believe that this squad as a collective at Man United is brilliant, and they are wrong. Facts, the fact that the same United fans are saying Amorim out after the situation he has inherited, but only the manager and only been the manager for 3 months, zero patience.
Yeah, unless they didn't want him in the first place. Yes,
that's also true. Yeah, I've got a friend, Danny, that's like that, who never wanted him. So of course he wants him out now. It makes sense. Don't even care about the City result. Club's not serious. The result has given them a shield for not signing anyone. We'll come back to the Arsenal stuff a bit later, Sam. David Moyes has 12 points in 4 games. Amorim has 14 points in 13 games. Amorim ruined his career and sporting potential. Yeah, listen, Moyes though has taken over a team that is built for pragmatism. So he's just, and he is a master at it. And he's taken over from a previous, you know, if Ruben had come in and taken over a team that was built for a 3-4-3 and had been playing well, just lost its way a little bit, then we'd expect a lot more from him. So this, again, the situations are different and you shouldn't remove the context, in my personal opinion. Viewers, make sure like buttons have been hit. Make sure you're subscribing. What happened at the weekend, LB? We're moving on now. What happened at the weekend to City?
Bozos making bozo errors, which has happened all season. We shoot ourselves in the foot every single game. We handed them the first 2 goals, and then that was it. Basically, the game was dead after the second goal because we was shot. The same thing happened against Chelsea. Luckily, Chelsea just were really, really bad. And that was back into the game, and we sort of took control of it again. But Arsenal didn't. And after that second goal, it was over. It kind of reminded me of the game where we beat you 6-1 many years ago, where we get a couple of goals up and your team just like loses all sense and they just start like doing stupid stuff and then you just get carved open. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's the same thing that I've seen all season. Too many errors. Too many bozo mistakes, horrific midfield. And when that happens, you get battered. We got battered off PSG. We got battered off Spurs. We got battered off Lisbon. So this isn't like a special thing for me. I've seen it many, many times. You know, we just hand goals to oppositions. It's crazy. You know, you're 90 seconds into a game at the Emirates. You think, keep it tight, keep it, chilling. If you're under any pressure, go long. Yeah, we want to get to the 10-minute mark, 0-0. What does Akanji do? Tries taking a man on the edge of his penalty area, loses the ball 1-0. Nice one, mate. That rattles us. Thought we did really well to get ourselves back in the game. We work hard. We get back in the game. I think it's a great goal. I think Haaland does really, really well. Completely beats Saliba. Fantastic goal. We get back in the game, and I'm thinking, buzzing. Let's take this home. Let's take a 1-1. I'm not asked about the win necessarily here. Get me a 1-1. No injuries, and I'll shake your hand right now. And what do? 30 seconds later, we play a stupid ball into the midfield. Complete bozo error. Partey puts it in the back of the net. You can't win professional football matches against good teams when you make huge mistakes. Yeah, Bernardo Silva came out a couple of months ago and said, we're playing like a bunch of 15-year-olds. Yeah, and that's what we're doing. You can't get away with this, man. And you play against good teams, you get punished. We played against Sporting Lisbon, we got battered. We played against PSG, we got battered. We played against Arsenal, we got battered. Yeah, none of these teams, I don't think, are mad exceptional or absolutely boxed us off the park. We literally just gifting them goals, and they're just going, thank you very much. Part of me actually thinks that part of Arsenal's game plan was these guys are going to make errors, lads. When they do make the errors, you got to make sure you score. And I think that's what they did. They waited for us to make the errors, and then they just pounced on it and scored. And yeah, as soon as that second goal went in, it was over, man, because we were just shot. We were mentally shot. We were rattled, and then we just got cooked. And we played really naive. The way we played was so naive. It was like a bunch of 15-year-olds, like Bernardo Silva said. And it was bad. Luckily, it doesn't affect our season that much because we're only unfortunately going for top 5, such as the standards have dropped this season. But man, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't nice. But what can you do? Like I'm almost numb to it now. I'm almost numb to it. You know, the third, fourth, fifth goal were going in. I'm just like, yeah, standard shit, same thing. I've seen it all this season. So it is what it is. I think that we'll probably have a couple more on results along the way. You know what I mean? Liverpool might batter us. We've got Real Madrid. Won't surprise me if they whack 4 or 5 past us. So it's an ugly season. It probably is going to have a couple more ugly results in it. But hopefully in the summer we'll sort it out. But it's just grim, mate. This season's just turned out to be an absolute disaster.
Can I ask you a question? You've obviously signed a number of players. I don't know very much about the 2 young centre-backs or defenders that you bought. Or your midfielder, to be fair, Nico Gonzalez. Is there a concern that if between now and the end of the season, you're still getting outclassed and beat by the sort of good to very good teams, even with those purchases, is there a concern that, you know, maybe some more of these players are no longer the City standard? Because I'm looking at Akanji as a case in point, a player that when you bought him, everyone went, ooh, him, third choice at Dortmund. And I would say that City fans for the last, say, 3 years have gone, wow, what a piece of business. I'm watching him now, and it isn't just positional issues. It's on the ball. It's his marking. It just feels like a lot of your defenders have forgotten how to defend. And I know Rodri being out and the midfield being weak plays a part in that. But is there a concern amongst City fans that maybe a few more players have just sort of timed out, of, if you like, aged out, timed out, been exposed, and maybe not being at the level?
Well, I mean, anyone with a brain knows that to be the case. As with every fan base, we do have some fans who think that everything is rosy and it's just a bit of a dodgy season. No. It's time for a clear out, man. It's time for a rebuild. We've got the 5th oldest squad in the league. Yeah, Kovacic 30s, Bernardo 30s, Kevin De Bruyne 30s, Gundogan 30s, and it just needs a rebuild, man. We should have done it. To be honest, we should have done it after the treble year. You know, we won the league last year. You know, I think we got carried by a couple of individual players, and they didn't do the rebuild in the summer, and now we're paying the price. You know, you can't get away in this league with having a bunch of 30-year-olds in your midfield who are slow. You know what I mean? We've got no energy, no pace, nothing. So, yeah, I think it's time for about 5 or 6 of these lads to leave. Yeah,
who would be your choices? Let's say, starting off in the defense, what defenders would you get rid of this summer?
Defenders, I would consider. I'm not actually throwing a lot of them out in defense because we've not got a lot. We've only got 6 plus the new 2 guys. So I probably wouldn't get rid of anyone if we don't have the squad available, because I don't know the squad numbers and the rules and homegrown stuff. If we get to a point where the squad's too full, I would consider letting Ake or Stones go, simply due to the fact, nothing to do with quality, simply due to the fact that they are unreliable because they're always injured. But I would only get rid of one of them if the squad rules mean that has to happen. Edison apparently wants to leave. He wants to go Saudi Arabia. I'd do everything within my power to keep him at the football club. Offer him bank, mate. I think he's absolutely unbelievable. I think some of our fans underrate him massively. Ortega doesn't touch him at all. Some of our fan base think he does. I think he's way off it. And then it's the midfield, really, where we need a complete and utter overhaul. I wouldn't personally mind Kovacic, Gundogan, Bernardo, and maybe Kevin De Bruyne all leaving the football club. Maybe you can't get rid of all 4 of them. Maybe you can only get rid of 2 of them. Grealish, I'd let him go, and Nunes, I'd let him go. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of players there, and there's a lot of money there as well on the wages. You know, if you let Kevin De Bruyne go, he's on 400 grand a week. You let Bernardo go, he's on 300 grand a week. Grealish is on 300 grand a week. That's £1 million a week of wages that you can then give to somebody else. You can bring some, fresh players in, and you could be bringing in big names because you've got the wage capacity there to cope with it. So, yeah, they're the sort of ones, they're the sort of names that I would be looking at to get rid of. I won't really be looking at getting rid of anyone in the defence because we've not got enough defenders as it is. But yeah, I'm looking for 4 or 5 players to leave, and I need 4 or 5 players to come in the summer. It's a complete rebuild. It's 2 years too late, really. And people will go, "Oh, well, you won the league last year." Yeah, but we won the league last year, mate, because Rodri was playing with Ballon d'Or quality. Foden was unbelievable. And Kevin De Bruyne came back after half a year and just started getting mad assists. So we got carried, I think, last year, to be honest with you. So yeah, we need to do this. We still need 4 or 5 more players, and I think they're going to do it. This is one thing that I can sort of like back my club to do. It's like, and obviously Dan will get onto Arsenal, but he's obviously got the complete opposite. Yes, my club has made mistakes, but at least I can back my club and think, they are going to sort this out. And I think they are going to sort it out. They've already spent £175 million this year, getting Marmoush and this Nico Gonzalez and the 2 youngsters. And I think they'll go and spend another 300 in the summer. I said, before this window started, this rebuild is going to cost £500 million, 500 million. They 175 in, and I think they're going to do another 300 in the summer. And then then it will see us for another 6-7 years.
Look,
Yeah,
I think this January I think this January transfer window is very interesting for Manchester City because we're saying they're serious. And to be fair, 6 players coming in is unbelievable. They've spent nearly as much money as all other 19 clubs I saw today, right? So they've been serious to say, we messed this up in the summer. Rodri's got injured. We need to sort it. We're going to go and get the Alvarez replacement in Marmoush. We're going to sort out a couple of centre-backs. We've let Kyle Walker go. We're going to bring in Nico Gonzalez because Rodri's out. And let's see where we go there. What will be interesting, as much as that looks good on paper, is how they are going to get on. Because really, there should be no excuses now to actually start to push on. If you start to see the similar results now, you're going to be thinking, crikey, we put 200 million down on this and we're still losing. And what I mean by that is, are these signings going to be a Haaland type signing, a Bernardo Silva type signing, or are they going to be a Mateus Nunes? Is Nico Gonzalez going to be another Calvin Phillips, or is he actually going to be looking like he's going to be a Fernandinho type signing? Are you going to get to Marmoush levels and think, oh, crikey, he looked great at Frankfurt, and now he's turning into another Grealish or Doku? That's what's going to interest me the most, really, is. I'm not saying that's on Pep. I'm just saying that as a whole, Manchester City's recruitment hasn't been great over the last couple of seasons, albeit they've won everything, right? I think you'd be agreeing to say that, yeah, there's 5 or 6 players needed because you need to be upgrading and getting rid of some of the players that haven't quite cut it. And that's where you're at, Man City. That's how high the standard is. That some mid-table sides would look at Grealish's performances and Mateus Nunes' performances and go, "You do quite well in our shirt, but it ain't good enough for City." And that's where City are at. Their standards are so high and should be so high to think, right, we've spent £200 million now. Let's see how far we can get in this Champions League, albeit we have to defend a hell of a lot better and stop making errors. And let's see if we can win silverware at the FA Cup. That's what the standard should be. And don't even dare think about dropping out of top 4 because there's no way you should. That's where I believe Manchester City should be right now. So it's going to be interesting to me to see what these players are like. I don't know anything about Vitor Hayes. I don't know anything about Huzanov. I don't know anything about Nico Gonzalez. I don't watch any of those leagues. Let's see what they're like, man. And let's see what City can do. Because at the weekend, I'm sorry, man, it was a sorry Manchester City side. And I have been in a position of the exact opposite of that I've seen a sorry Arsenal side get battered by 4s, 5s and 6s. And it was just nice for my club to actually batter a team that definitely were in the absolute doldrums. And I'm looking at the errors from the goalkeeper. Akanji, I thought was one of your best players last season, LB. I've seen mistakes from him this season. John Stones, suicide football. Foden, absolute shocking pass to Partey for the goal. I don't know what your players were doing. Now, that wasn't the reason Arsenal won. Arsenal were better in every area of the game, in my opinion. That just added to allow us to batter you. I think we would have won without those mistakes, but you're basically just gifting us the game there. Absolutely mad.
That's what we do every game, bro. That's what we do every game. If you look at some of these games, mate, that we've been beaten in, we just give goals away. We really do just give them away. Like players getting skinned, goalkeeper errors, defensive errors. Like it's really, really bad, you know. So I think this season is a situation where we need to secure top 4. We need to secure Champions League football next year because we can't be out of the Champions League. And just give the FA Cup a good go, you know, and see if we can pick up. Because if we can pick up a piece of silverware in this season, which has been an absolute disaster. Remember, we won 1 game in 14 matches. You know what I mean? If you can win a piece of silverware in a season like that, then fair dues. The Real Madrid game is going to be hilarious. It's going to be hilarious because they literally are probably the worst team in the world that we can play because they will sit back, they will defend like they did last year, and they'll hit us on the break. And that is probably the worst style of team that we could potentially play. Yeah, like Spurs battered us, sat there. We had the ball. Everyone goes, "Oh, City are playing all right, dominating possession." Bang, we lose the ball. We have no midfield, cut us apart. At the same time, Real Madrid have got a massive defensive crisis at the moment. Massive defensive crisis. Rudiger is probably going to be out for both games. Alaba's out, I think, for probably both games. So they're really, really struggling. So I think there could be goals because I think we'll create chances.
Yeah,
they'll create chances as well. It's just probably about who's going to be most clinical in that game. But don't be surprised to see us get whacked 4 or 5 in that one as well. So yeah, it's what it is, man. But listen, it's the rebuild has begun. Let's see what we do in the summer. We're nowhere near done. We need another 4 or 5 players. And yeah, let's see where we go. But I'm pretty confident for next year that we'll be back, you know, challenging. But this year is just turning out, unfortunately, to be a bit of a write-off. This Nico Gonzalez kid, listen, I've never seen him, but I'm hearing good things, man. The Barcelona fans are saying, "Oh, this guy was good, man." You know what I mean? We had to sell him for PSR or whatever and finances, but apparently this guy was very, very highly rated. Busquets, when he was there at Barca, said Nico Gonzalez is the one that's going to replace me, and then they ended up selling him because he wanted game time and they needed the money. They went back to Porto, you know, so he's highly rated. But again, he's been thrown in to a really, really bad situation where the team is just dead on confidence. Yeah, the quality is not there because the players are too old. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not he drags the standard of the team up or whether the team drags him down. So there's a lot to do, man, but I am more optimistic. Get me top 4, give that FA Cup a good go. And don't get hammered off Real Madrid, and we'll do that next year.
What's happened to Foden, by the way, boys? What's actually gone on there? Because I do
not
get
Foden
this.
thing's hilarious, mate. Because for the last month, he's played very, very well.
But for the season, if you look at what he did last season, he was phenomenal. Yeah, I rate Foden.
The season from August to December, yeah, he wasn't great, and then he started getting better. This year in 2025, he's been mint this month. He's been mint. He's got a goal in every single game. Yeah, he's been involved. He's looking good. Arsenal, he was poor, but I don't think. I think what's happened to him this season is a bit like we had this conversation in December. It was a valid conversation. We discussed it, and then in January he's been mint. He's scored in every single game he's played, and then he had a bad game against Arsenal. So I don't think it's what's happened to Foden. We can speak about the fact that Foden was poor against Arsenal, 100%. But this what's happened to him. I think that was a conversation for December, which we had many, many times. But he was poor. Mamouche was poor. Kovacic was poor. They were all poor, man. You know what I mean? They were all poor. It's the way it is at the moment. Everyone's just poor.
I look at. Sorry, Tel, go on.
No, mate. I was going to ask you what your thoughts were on Foden.
I don't watch City like LB does, so maybe LB's right. Maybe he has been mint. I've seen this season. I'm kind of looking out for him in games, and I'm not seeing what I did last season. Maybe it's because everyone around him has been complete trash. Maybe that midfield has not helped him at all. I think we have to take that into consideration. I don't want to excuse that because he should be a top quality player to be able to take him across the line. And I think the last few games, LB's right. He started to pick it up. I think him and Haaland have now started to get back onto the score sheet. But I've not seen the same Foden, if I'm honest. I haven't from the games that I've seen. Now, maybe I haven't been watching enough, but I don't look at Foden this season and think he's anywhere near the level that he was. Now, I know that some City fans have told me there's stuff going off the pitch. I don't know if that is the truth. I don't know if there's stuff going that's offside the pitch. Maybe LB knows more than me. But it don't quite look the same to me. And I thought he was pretty poor against Arsenal, but I think he's had a few games like that. LB rightly said towards the Christmas period, he's been poor as well. And a lot of people have been questioning him this season. Maybe he's just got to a level where we're putting him up here now. And to be fair, so we should be, because he's that good. On paper, he's an unbelievable player. He's got everything to his game. I just haven't seen it enough this season. But maybe it's just me.
Yeah, like I say, he was poor against Arsenal this month in January. He's been really, really good. So we'll see if he plays bad in the next couple of games. Maybe we'll go. Maybe that January was just a flash in the pan type thing. But we'll have to wait and see, man. It's a big week for us. It's a big month. Our fixtures are raw, mate. You know what I mean? We've got Leyton Orient this weekend. Then we've got Real Madrid, Newcastle, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Tottenham, Brighton, Forest, Spurs. We've got Tottenham in there as well. This is it, man. We'll see what happens. But
you should beat Orient. But my brother's at Orient season ticket holders.
You should beat Orient. Nice one, tell you.
They should. They play very nice football though, and they've got a few speedy players on the counter. And I'll be honest with you, I would rather see you beat Madrid 15-0 and get knocked out by Madrid than the other way around. And it's not even about City. It's just for my brothers. I am gutted though. Our whole lives we've wanted Man United versus Leyton Orient in the FA Cup, and they've only got to the third or fourth round like 4 or 5 times in 38 years, and they fucking get Man City instead of Man United. I can't tell you how gutted I am because me and my brother's teams have never played each other. So yeah, I just wanted that to happen. But you should beat them. You should. But Richie Wellings, their manager, United Academy player, come on, son, bring it home. Bring it home for world football. Bring it home.
Magic of the cup is what they say, innit? You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens.
Again, I know. And listen, if they're up against anybody other than Man United, they played Arsenal a few years ago. They scored a last-minute equaliser against Wenger's Arsenal team. I remember that game. Did I go? No, I didn't go to that game. It was a different one that I went to, but I was in the pub with them beforehand and had met them afterwards. And do you know what it is when you see that level, that fans of that level of the game? Results like that are just different. Like even the before the match, like the excitement. Like, we're playing Arsenal today. Like my brother messaged me when it came through, and he went, "Pep Guardiola is going to be standing in the dugouts of Leyton Orient," and for them, it's out of this world. Like there's been a few big names over there. Like when we were kids, Leyton Orient played Wales in a friendly, so they were like Bart Hughes, Giggs, those guys were there, and you couldn't get into the stadium because people were just turning up to see these superstars. So yeah, it's gonna be. I'm excited about it. Actually, I'm looking forward to it as a game, and fingers crossed. I mean, they won't win, but go on, Orient, go on, do it. Just for the banter.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what. If they score first, it'll be on because we'll get rattled. You know what I mean? We have to score. If they score first, Leyton Orient, mate, like our confidence is so low that like we'll just be rattled, mate, and like the atmosphere will be banging. You know what I mean? It's FA Cup, Magic of the Cup, all that kind of stuff. We have to score that first goal. We have to score first. If they score first, bro, I don't know if we're going to come back from that. So, but it's probably our best chance at a trophy, man. So we need to give it everything we've got. You know what I mean? That Real Madrid game, mate. I don't know about that. We need to hope and pray Diaz is fit for it, man. But listen, at least, like I say, at least the club has signed some players. You know what I mean? Which is more than said for some other clubs that also needed them. But there's a lot more to do. Another 300 million in the summer. Let's rattle some guys online about us spending money. But then we'll get back to winning ways, and that's the key, man. You got to spend money to win, and that's what we've not done last summer. And that's why we're not winning anything.
You certainly do need to spend money to win. From an Arsenal point of view, Potsy, it was a massive, massive win. A lot's been said in the last few days about the celebrations. Arsenal fans being told they shouldn't. Mainly by Liverpool fans actually, but they shouldn't celebrate. That Lewis Skelly is a disgrace for copying Haaland's celebration. That the club are an embarrassment for playing that song. I don't know what the song's called, by Kendrick Lamar. Do you feel like there's been a weird overreaction from pundits and journalists and rivals towards Arsenal celebrating what? Listen, I think you're only the second, maybe third team in Pep's career to put 5 goals past one of his teams. So do you think it's an overreaction for Arsenal to celebrate the way they did?
No, I don't think it's an overreaction. I think there's an overreaction if you're starting to celebrate the league title. If Haaland wouldn't have made those comments and there wouldn't have been that little bit of kind of rivalry in apostrophes, then I don't think anyone would be talking about it. But when Haaland's come up and said, stay humble, Gabriel, when we scored, has laughed in his face. Gary Neville then the hypocrisy is hilarious as someone who worked with and played with Roy Keane and Ruud van Nistelrooy to say that was really out of order what Gabriel did, laughing in Haaland's face. It wasn't out of order when he threw the ball at his head, though, apparently. But when we do it, it's out of order. Look, I thought it was class from Mars Lewis Skelly. I thought it was a cold celebration, if I'm honest. I thought it was brilliant. But if you do that, you've got to back it up, haven't you? So what we've got to do now is get across the line. That's when they will laugh at us in May, is if we do all this and go over the top with it and the fan base start laughing and then we don't win the league, then we'll have a right to look a little bit silly. But right now, we should be able to enjoy it. We've just battered them, smashed them. God, I haven't done that for years. We used to do that when Manchester City were playing at Main Road. We weren't doing that when the Sheikh Mansour took over. I can't remember the last time we battered Manchester City. We beat them before, I think 3-1, and we beat them 2-0, and we beat them 2-1. 5. God, we haven't seen that, man. So, look, Lewis Skelly deserves a hell of a lot of credit, and so does Ethan Nwaneri. These two kids are absolute ballers. And there are two positives that have come out of this season, which, to be fair, albeit we're third place in the Champions League group stage and we're second in the league, has not been a great season for Arsenal going out of the Cups. And I know tomorrow will probably look like we'll be going out of the Carabao Cup unless a miracle, barring a miracle, in my opinion. So we definitely look to have some negatives as well this season, but they've been two of the positives. The overreaction stuff, look, there are some fans that will probably overreact, but I don't think Lewis Skelly overreacted there. I think he's given it back. When Haaland says, "Who are you?" he's just showed him who he is. He's put one top bins and he's gone and celebrated like him. Fair play to the lad. Love it. I love the set of nuts in him. That's what I want to see. Don't we want a little bit of that? Don't we want a little bit of that nastiness? Gabriel and Haaland against each other.
I agree. I actually think football, is too woke, and like I want to see more of this. I remember when Grealish called out Almiron, you remember? And like you seen people saying, "Oh, it's disrespectful." I want to see more. I want to see players calling it. I want to see those battles, man. Do you know what I mean? I want to see Gabriel versus Haaland battles, mate. It's what I want to see on a football pitch. Yeah, because we've lost that since the 90s. Yeah, it's all gone a bit like stale and that. Yeah, we need to bring it back, man. It's more entertaining. You tell me that's not more entertaining than Arsenal City 2-3 years ago. Of course it is. You've got all these battles going on, man. I think it's good. I think it's pretty funny. I do think that on the celebrations, listen, celebrate how you want, but at the end of the day, if you don't win anything, then you'll be having another Amazon documentary called All for Nothing. So you've got to back it up. You know what I mean? That's the facts. You got to back it up. You can't be playing all these stay humble at the end of the game, doing all these celebrations and not win anything, because that's literally why he said it. But if they've got to go on and kick on now, they've got to go and win now the next 5 or 6 games. Yeah, if they've got a chance of winning this league, they've got to put a run together now. And I think they've got to win in the next 5. I've had a look at the fixtures. I think they've got 4 or 5 games now that they should be winning. They cannot afford to drop points in any of those games, because let's be honest, they're going to have to beat Liverpool at Anfield, probably. Yeah, they're probably going to have to beat Newcastle, probably. And they're going to have to hope that somebody else takes points off of Liverpool. Yeah, so maybe Arsenal fans will be wanting City to do that. I wouldn't hold your breath, right? But the thing is, there's only 14 games left. People are looking at the table going, "Oh, we're only 6 points behind." Well, first of all, they got a game in hand, and there's only 14 games left. And you might say Liverpool are going to drop points, but Arsenal will probably drop points as well. So this is why Arsenal now, they have to use this win, right, as motivation to go into these next games, and they cannot afford, to drop points in any of the next 4 or 5 games. They have to put a streak together.
How many do we have to win in the next 14? How many?
I think you've got to win
12.
13. I think you've got to win 13, and you've got to beat Liverpool at Anfield.
I'd love to say we have to win like 10, but I agree with you. I think we can drop 2 games. It doesn't mean lose them both. It means draw or loss, whatever. Well, we have to beat Liverpool.
You can drop points in 2 games, but that can't be in the Liverpool match. And even then, there is still a bit of hope there. But LB's right. You've got to use this as motivation. You've got your annual Dubai trip coming up, and I know that there'll be Arsenal fans. They won't want to say it, but there'll be that hope that you can come back and have a run like last year. But on the needle stuff, very quickly, you're spot on. As an older fan, I saw journalists doing fucking think pieces on it yesterday. Think pieces. And my first thought, and I can't say all of this, I've got to mute myself, I think, but these fucking left, right? I can't, it's like, I mean this, these middle class tosspots, get out of my sport. There's nothing wrong with what they did. Now, I competed at quite a high level of my sport, quite a high level. It's part of it. Now, in fighting, especially if you become a famous fighter, sometimes when you're giving it, you get caught, you get knocked out, you look stupid, right? But that's part and parcel of sport. This happens in tennis. This happens in cricket. This happens in the NBA. Everywhere you go, they get at each other. And it is seldom is it personal. I love it. We need more of it. And for me, I think one of the reasons Liverpool fans are triggered by it is because I think deep down inside, Liverpool fans are upset that the Liverpool City rivalry, footballing wise, was amazing, but it will never go down as a classic rivalry, whether it's geographical, historical, because there are historical. Man United and Leeds, the rivalry is literally based on a war that happened centuries ago. There are some that are geographical, like Man City. You know, you've got some that are city-based, like Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool and City not getting on, it strikes me as strange considering the two cities fell out of each other over problems with docks. I just don't understand why the City fans don't have that same feeling towards Liverpool fans. Maybe it's because United do. They don't want to be seen as the same. I'm not sure. But there's lots of rivalries in the Premier League era. United, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, to name two, that were purely out of competing with each other and managers getting at each other and players fighting. And let's not get it twisted. That Man United Arsenal rivalry in the 90s, I think, was one of the biggest catalysts of the Premier League being as big as it is now. I think it drew eyes to the game. I think it made the game still matter now. And for the last 20 years, we haven't really been competing against each other for titles, but Man United Arsenal still holds weight and water. So I loved what I saw at the weekend. On the outside in, I loved it. I loved Haaland throwing the ball at the back of his head. Brilliant. I love it when you get a little bit of argy-bargy on the pitch and people are in each other's faces. More of that, please. It's amazing. On Arsenal going on a run, Potsy, I mean, it kind of starts tomorrow. I know it's not the league, but a big game now against Newcastle, and you're scoring goals. They've had a poor last 2 or 3 games at home. Confident you could overturn that?
I'm quietly confident we can win the game, but I'm not confident we can go through the tie. They just need to score, and we're going to need an unbelievable amount of goals. So look, I personally do believe that we can go there, and the way we've played of late, I do think that we've got a good chance of beating Newcastle. We're playing them at a good time. Newcastle have got no Joe Linton. I know last time they had no Bruno, and they still beat us 2-0, but we were a bit of a mess, and they were on absolute fire. I'm not saying that they're going to be terrible, but with Fulham and Bournemouth going there and putting 6 goals past them together, that gives me a little bit of confidence that at least we can get some confidence going into that game. Now, I would play a full strength side. I wouldn't be messing around with Sterling's and Jorginho's coming in for this one, Marino's. We've got to play our best 11 because we go to Dubai. That's our reward for going out the FA Cup. Off you go to Dubai, boys. What a great reward, eh? It's nice going out the FA Cup, isn't it? You get holiday. Beautiful. So disgraceful, but that's another story. Then I look at what could happen tomorrow. Look, I do think that we'll probably win the game, but I don't think it'll be enough. I think we could win the game 1-0. I think we might win it 2-1. But I do feel personally that it will just be a little bit too much. And look, we've got to do a bit of an Anfield 89 tell. We've got to go 1-0 up early. We've got to keep it at 1-0. We've got to make sure we're defensively solid and resolute. And then we've got to try and nick it and take it to penalties. I think that's the only way that we're going to get through this next round. And yeah, like Chris said, there we go. 89 at Anfield. I do feel like that. I feel that's the only way we've got. I want to get through, man. I really badly do. I feel like a tie is done, but it's not. I feel like we might win, but won't be enough to go through. And I just feel that the damage was already done in the first leg. And that's why I'm so disappointed.
And the thing is, if you go out tomorrow, the chances of a trophy are slim, aren't they? Because I think most people have Liverpool as favourites at this point, which is fair for the reasons we've already gone through. And you never won a Champions League, so that you'd have to do something different. I'm not saying you can't win it, I'm just saying you've never done it. Until you do it, like you can't really get your chest out for that. So I think that, listen, if a 5-1 win against Manchester City can't motivate you to go to St James's Park and put in a top performance, I'm not saying you necessarily go through, but if Arsenal can't go there tomorrow and put in a top-class performance, and listen, maybe they put in a top-class performance and they go out, but if they can't put in a top-class performance, you have to question the mentality of the players at that point, yeah? We see this a lot, don't we, in football? Like a team will beat another big team, yeah? And then in the next game, they'll drop points. And it's like, was that your cup final? Did you just get up for it for a cup final? Like you see Spurs do this a lot, don't you? You know what I mean? They did it against us. They beat us 4-0 and then they lost the next game. Yeah. Is it your cup final? Was Manchester City at the weekend your cup final? You beat us 5-1. You all celebrated. You know what I mean? Doing all the Twitter things, and then you lose or put in a bad performance. They have to go there tomorrow and put in the best performance they played all season. And what will be, innit? I say fate will decide what happens in the game. But they're still in it. The problem is, as Popsy said, if Newcastle get one, they've got to score 3 goals just to take it to extra time, man.
No, I agree. I think as well, talking about the league, I think overturning this semi-final deficit for Arsenal could also help them in the league, because it's something that they've been written off doing. That most people said after that first leg, it's over, it's done, it's finished, they're out. And I understand that take. Slapped up City, kept themselves in the title race. If they're able to go and to overturn this, it's a belief thing. Maybe that gives that squad a little bit more belief.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen, Tail, don't you? They'll flip it, and you'll get all these people online saying, it's a blessing in disguise. We can focus on the league. I swear to God, yeah. That's what's going to happen, mate. If you get knocked out tomorrow, I guarantee you there'll be Arsenal fans saying, it's a blessing, even though it's only one game, a final, but there'll still be Arsenal fans saying, it's a blessing.
Yeah, they're wrong, because I think if there's 2 things in this. I think Spurs will get knocked out by Anfield personally.
I agree.
I want a North London derby final just for the online carnage. I'm not going to lie. As a content creator, I'm being very selfish here. I'm like, that's just beautiful. But if Arsenal can overturn this deficit, it's massive. They were written off. Then if they went to that final and beat Liverpool, something about that in terms of, well, we're then going to go play Liverpool again. Yes, it's at Anfield. But we've beaten them. Confidence, the trophy, the feeling of winning something that can become contagious. Now, it doesn't always work out like that. You know, Wigan got relegated and won an FA Cup. It didn't make the best team in the world. But when you're in the position that a team like Arsenal are, where it's 3 years running in a title race, but not quite getting over the line, winning a trophy again as a collective group can help. So, yeah, I think going out tomorrow night, look, the damage has been done already. If you go out narrowly and you fight back, I think there's some pride to take from that performance. But going out altogether, no, I don't think it's a good thing for Arsenal. I think that, you know, overturning it and then going on to win it, I think that sets a bit of a precedent. I think it gives you some winning impetus. It teaches you what winning feels like. And it'd be massive for Arsenal to do that. Newcastle, look, they've been very good this year. They're just, I'm saying it now, it's probably the best time in the last 3 months to have played Newcastle.
You spit on Newcastle, they'll tell you, if they lose tomorrow and get knocked out, I think the pressure on Eddie Howe will be
insane. Massive. And that's why you guys got to score early, because the energy tomorrow night in that stadium is going to be maybe one of the most intense and intimidating atmospheres that this Arsenal team's ever come up against. Because it nearly always is when you go to St James's Park as a rival fan and you're a big club. It nearly always is. Plus, their desperation and desire for a trophy as a fan base, I think outweighs anyone else, any one of us by a country mile. So but if you guys can keep hold of the ball, score a goal in the first 10 minutes, and you take the noise out of that crowd, that's when I think you'll win. If they score first, you ain't going to quieten that fan base down. So I think it's over. I just think
first goal is massive.
First, yeah, I agree. But
look, first goal is massive. But we have to be real here. Yeah, they need a trophy, 100%. We also need a trophy. I'm with you, boys. Winning breeds confidence. There's obviously that potential to then go on to do something incredible in May if you do it in March, right? So that's what a lot of people say. That's why Pep and Jose took it so seriously. Newcastle are going to take it seriously. They will want it more than us as a fan base, the Carabao Cup. There's still a lot of Arsenal fans that are like, meh, don't want a League Cup. I want a Champions League or Premier League, because we're not even spoiled with it, right? But we've done this to ourselves in 2 ways, boys. Yeah, we go tomorrow night. The damage has already potentially been done because of us. We didn't do our job at home in the first leg. Yeah. Then you look at the damage that we did yesterday. That could potentially not allow us to go and win a trophy again yesterday, what we did. Because I don't think we're winning anyway. But I don't think we've done ourselves any favours by potentially putting our hands halfway up with a white flag, because that's what we've done yesterday. By doing absolutely nothing is an absolute disgrace of a football club. It shows no seriousness. It shows no ambition to win. And it shows the root of all the problems at Arsenal Football Club, which is above. As much as I'm not a fan of Arteta and I think he might not be the one to get us across the line, you can't deny the fact that he's got us challenging. You can't deny the fact that he has spent money, but he clearly needs to spend more. You also can't deny the fact that as much as he spent a hell of a lot of money, and some of it has been on bad signings, right now, Saka has gone down. Jesus has gone down. And people said we needed a striker when they were fit. So what do we need now? The answer is nothing. So we have done absolutely nothing to help ourselves get across the line in either the Champions League or the Premier League. And that does count as well for tomorrow night, because people might look at that and say, yeah, but you wouldn't have played those guys anyway. Well, how do you know? Imagine having a couple of options right now to play on that tomorrow night, to give them that first game to say, look, man, no pressure. Everyone thinks we're going out. Go and show us what you can do. And we haven't got any players to be brought in a crowd. That's an absolute
that is absolutely shambolic. Yeah. Shambolic. Yeah. I know there's that phrase, the top gooners in your fan base, right? But not one Arsenal fan, surely not one Arsenal fan can accept this. Yeah. This is the third year that you're going for the league in a row, right? And you're against Liverpool, not City. Right, and let's be honest, yeah, one injury is Salah or Van Dijk, and all of a sudden people are going, hang on a minute, yeah? And you've not gone and done one bit of business. And you've got Saka out with an injury. I think it's absolutely embarrassing. Yeah, it's unacceptable. Fans need to be holding these owners to account, because these are billionaire owners. Yeah, they do it at all football clubs, apart from mine, yeah? Yeah, United do it. Yeah, they don't spend any money. You know what I mean? Liverpool are probably the worst. And you guys need to start calling these out more and more. And I know a lot of you do. Yeah, I mean, but you need to raise the temperature on these conversations, man, because this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. This is
well,
one of the
you've just
biggest
said it
clubs in
there
the
that there's
country,
a
man.
section of the fan base that should not be sticking up for it. And straight away in the chat, I'm the problem. Dan Potts is the problem. Fans like Dan Potts don't deserve to win. Fans like Dan Potts. Do you know what? It's fans like you, man, that are allowing this to happen, that are sitting there on their hands and knees.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah, why are they backing these billionaire owners? These owners don't know you. They're not your mate. Yeah, they're billionaires. And your football club, which you support, which is in a third year in a row going for a title race, in which you're only 6 points behind Liverpool, and you're defending them for not buying a single player. What is that about? It's unacceptable.
On that defense, there's a story that's come out. Now, this has come from David Ornstein, and he has stated that, sorry, I'm just timestamping this. He has stated that Arsenal essentially made an offer of £40 million for Ollie Watkins. Villa have come back, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, but 60 million and he's yours. And Arsenal have essentially scoffed at that and said he isn't worth £60 million. That eats too much into our budget for the summer. Now, if we just be objective for a moment, because some people may not think, I suppose you can't be, because some people may think that he isn't good enough. That there represented an opportunity to bring in goals between now and the end of the season. Is he the best striker in the Prem or the best in Europe? No. But Dan, would you have been happy with KSE, with Arsenal committing £60 million to bring in Ollie Watkins?
If that's the player they want, he's not my first choice. But if that's the player they want, and they believe that is the guy that's going to take us to the, you have to back him as an owner. If you believe that is what they want, and you believe in this manager, and the manager is saying, I want this £60 million striker, that's what they should be going and getting. I don't believe Mikel Arteta has said, I don't want anyone. Nah, I'm cool. I'm cool with this. I believe Mikel Arteta has said he wants that. I don't believe in any of this. I don't think that they want any players. I don't believe in this. There's nobody available. I don't believe in the fans that say, why buy now when you have to buy, you could get someone better in the summer. Now, listen, if you give me Isak in the summer, I'm waiting till the summer, of course. But let's also look at this window and say, why can't we get somebody for now as well? Why can't we get somebody in as well as someone in the summer? That's what I don't get, Tel. It's always about the summertime. It's always about next season. And then when guys like Patrice Evra come out and say they're Netflix FC, everyone gets the hump. We've got people in there sitting on their hands and knees, accepting this mediocrity, accepting for yet another transfer window, we have failed. In the January transfer windows of the last 4, we have done pretty much naff all. And in the summer, I am seeing a semi-final, and I'm seeing Manchester City, Arsenal, and all 3 of our summer signings are warming up on the bench. That proves how shambolic the summer transfer window was. And on top of that, we've got a goalkeeper who can't play the cup games because he's cup tied. And people tell me it was a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 window. Then we get to January and people are saying, there's no one available. We'll wait till the summer. We'll have a brilliant one. And these cronkies are lapping it up going, this fan base are brilliant. We don't have to spend any money here. The stadium's full. There's 30,000 people on the waiting list. The club shop is booming. Get that merch out. Let's get them all wearing it. £100 a pop. Get the beer prices up to $7.90. Let's get them all in the stadium early. Let's get the beer and the pies involved. Let's get everyone buying stuff. This is brilliant. And we're lapping it up. Come on, man. What's happening here? And people say, stop going. Stop going to games. Sell your season ticket. Don't go into the club shop. What? And the Cronky's going to leave? Oh, we've just heard that Dan Potts is not going into the shop anymore. We better sell up. Absolute waffle. We need to all do this together. This needs to be a united thing. And our fan base can't unite because half of them are so gassed up that we ain't 8th and 5th anymore that they start doing celebrations. We don't win anything this year. The manager needs to get sacked, but they won't sack him. So I'd say this to the ownership. They've got 2 ways. They either say, this January, you've had enough, mate. Yeah, I ain't giving you any more. And if you don't win something with this lot in May, you're gone. That's option number 1. The second option is, do you know what? I think he needs a bit of support. Let's get him the summer and the January to go and sign some players because we believe in him. But they haven't done either of those things. They've just gone, yeah, what the Rams doing? What's the Denver Nuggets up to? I was saying about a window in Arsenal or something. Don't worry about them. Let's go and concentrate on American sports. What are we doing over here? And unfortunately, that is where they lie. And we have got a picture of this guy outside our stadium that's been painted on the bloody wall. That's how much these fans love him. What is going on? It's mad. I can't be alone here. Surely I'm not alone here talking about what has not been done in a January transfer window when we are going for a title for the 3rd season in a row that people don't believe we're going to win, but we're still in it. You can't give up now. We're 6 points behind. Yes, they've got a game in hand. Everyone believes it's Liverpool. But if I said to you now, do you know what? Arsenal, yeah, they might be getting Isak or Sesko or Williams or Zubimendi or all 4 in the summer. But right now, they're bringing in Kvaratskhelia and Watkins for right now. Yep. I've got an unbelievable chance of going and at least getting closer to Liverpool, and if not, getting across in one of the other competitions. But we ain't doing it. We're just like, oh, well, there's always next season. It's the summer, innit? Next summer we'll give. And then what's already come out again, Gunner Blog's putting out in the Twitter today, we're hearing the summer's going to be massive for Arsenal. One day after the window's shut, it's going to be a massive summer for Arsenal.
Why is January not massive? Why is January not massive, man?
Because we're not serious, brother. We're not serious.
It's not true, man. Why don't you go get Marmouche?
Facts.
Why don't you go get Marmouche? 59 million. That's not expensive these days. 59 million for a guy that's got 34 GA this year. He got mad GA last year. This guy's mint. Yeah, why don't you go get him? By the way, every single player in Spain and Portugal legally has to have a release clause. So, you know, this thing about you can't get players. They've all got release clauses in Spain and Portugal.
Yeah.
They've got to have release clauses. Go get players
I agree with that element. The only way it makes sense is if in the summer, the player they get is better than those guys, but only available in the summer. So if you go and get Eucharist in the summer, but you get him 10 million cheaper than you could have got him this January, that would infuriate me if I was an Arsenal fan, because that player, yes, 10 million more expensive now in the January
he's got
window.
A release clause. You ain't getting him out for it unless you pay the release clause.
So the point is the release clause was about 15 million pounds more expensive in January than it is in the summer. So he's cheaper in the summer than he is now. But the point is, having Eucharist between now and the end of the season could be the difference between winning the league title or a Champions League and not. So that side of things, if it's a case of, well, we could have dropped 80 million on Osimhen, but we think Isak is twice as good and we can get him 100 million in the summer, but Newcastle wouldn't sell now, then I think it makes sense. But there are other options available, the injuries that you've got. So I do think, just like I've said with Man United and with Chelsea, I think all 3 ownerships have let their managers and their fan base down. And it's interesting because Arteta seems to agree. This comment from Arteta today that's come out, Arteta on the transfer window, he said that we had a clear intention. We have not achieved it. We are disappointed in that sense. Now, he's used we because he's kind of taking ownership alongside his board. But me hearing that, me reading that is him saying, because he doesn't do the negotiations. Like the managers don't do that anymore.
Well, who's in charge of the negotiations at Arsenal?
At the moment, there is absolutely no idea what is happening. Edu's gone, not been replaced. Richard
That's
Garlick.
Probably why he didn't sign anyone then. No one knows what they're doing.
No one has a clue what they're doing. No one has a clue what they're doing.
They probably had a meeting
supposed to
this
be
morning.
Jason Ato and Richard Garlick. That's who's supposed to be.
They probably had a meeting this morning and they've gone, right, lads, how come we've not signed any players? And he went, I thought you were signing the players. And the other guy went, I thought you were signing the players. It wouldn't even surprise
me, bruv. It wouldn't even
surprise me. I thought you
me.
were signing the players. Like, no one knows what
Dan
they're doing.
Kroenke's like, where's Edu? He went a month ago, did he?
Honestly, man. It's Jason Ato who's in charge alongside Richard Garlick. Jason Ato is in an interim role because Edu is gone. It doesn't matter. Arteta and Josh Kroenke are the two with the powerful voice. They're the two you got to look at. They're the two right now you got to look at. Real talk, man. It's a joke. How the hell can we go for a window and not sign anybody when our best player's gone down? Jesus is still out long term. And then we hear today that actually it was 60 million that they wanted and we were only prepared to pay 40. Absolutely ridiculous, man. Honestly, I think it's a joke. But apparently, we're fine. Everyone in the chat will tell you we're going to win the league and the Champions League, and we're good. So I don't know why we're moaning.
You might listen. You might win the Champions League. You might win the Premier League. However, the closer you get to the Premier League this year, just enforces the fact that yes, you should have bought players. You know, if you miss out on the league this year by a point, you could go back to this January and go, "We would have bought a player, we might win the league." I just think it's unacceptable for these. You know, fans have to start holding these guys accountable. Yeah, these are billionaires. Yeah, there is no excuse for not spending money in any transfer window. Yeah, there's no excuse for it. It's unacceptable. Yeah, these are the custodians of your football club. They're not your friend. They're not your mate. They're billionaires that are holding your football club, and their job is to try and make you win. And you spent. It's not like you spent 300 million in the summer. Yeah, and then we can sit here and go, well, they spent 300 million in the summer. Maybe there's no money. You spent 70 million quid, man.
And with Arsenal, look, the trading accounts show that they're not in any financial trouble. I'm not defending Ineos in any capacity, but there's limitations on what they can spend because we have actually spent a lot of money in the last decade and wasted it and then sold really, really poorly. People actually think City are spending loads of money because they've got billionaire owners. It's not because they're billionaires. It's because they've run the club well. And if you look at the amount of money that City have raised through sales in the last however many, plus the volume of duds they've had in the last 8 years means they haven't been continually chasing their tail, spending more and more and more and more and more and more. So that's why selling players for large amounts of money is such an important component of a football club and getting players consistently at the right price. Because every time City signed a player for 50 million, Man United were out there signing an inferior player for 70 million. You keep doing that over an 8-year period, you run out of money. I don't think Arsenal were in that situation. I'm not saying they could have afforded to have spent 500 million pounds or something crazy, but I think they could have gone to 60 million for Watkins.
That's it, bro. We're being very reasonable here. I'm not saying, and I'm not even an Arsenal fan. Yeah, this is Potsy that should be having this argument. I'm not saying Arsenal should have spent 200 million. I'm saying spend 100 mil. Yeah, get an attacker because you need one, because you need a striker and Saka's injured. Get an attacker, 60 mil. Yeah, you could have got Mamouche, 60 million pound. And then maybe go and get another midfielder at 40 million quid. Yeah, but we got Gonzalez at 49.
Nobody available. There's nobody available, LB.
Oh, get out of here, man. So how we got Mamouche and Gonzalez then? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because Gonzalez, we activated his release clause. And Mamouche, you know, we done a deal at 59 million quid. Just think about it. There's nobody out there. It's a load of nonsense. There's release clauses all over Europe.
Release clauses, man. Osimhen, we're talking about release clauses. Gyökeres, there's a release clause. Williams, there's a release clause. You don't want them. Go and get Kvaratskhelia. How did we let Kvaratskhelia for 63 million go under our noses? Marmouche for 60 million. They weren't all available. Are you telling me they weren't available? Unbelievable, man. We're linked with Cunha. We're linked with Watkins. Go and get it. Go and get it done. And like people, you think it's Football Manager? Oh my God, for real. We're not asking him to go and spend 500 million.
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
Absolutely crazy.
You're just asking them to just, you know, put their hand in the pocket, spend 100 million quid. That's 170 million for the season. It's not a lot of money. Yeah, that's minus. Obviously, you got sales on top of that as well. Yeah. So, you know, there is the money is there 100%. Arsenal are a rich football club. They've got plenty of money, and the owners and the board have let the Arsenal fans down, and they've let the players down. Let's talk about the players. Yeah, a lot of these players haven't won anything in their career. A lot of these players haven't won anything. Yeah. These players, yeah, they want to win. And they need recruits. I've been saying about my club, yeah. I think my team, my midfield, they want us to sign midfielders because they can't do the job. I think Arsenal players want signings. I think Odegaard wants players around him that he can pass the ball to. Yeah, I think these players want to win. And they're probably going into training today going, where's the new guys that are going to push us over the line? So it's not just the fans moaning. This is not just the fans moaning about it. Yeah, this is the players. The manager's moaning about it. The manager's moaning about it. So what are these Arsenal fans who are like never complain about anything? What are they going to say about the manager? Are they going to start criticizing the manager now because now the manager's not happy? So what? Are you going to criticize the manager? I just don't think it's right, man. And you know, it's bang out of order, mate. And if you miss out on the league by a couple of points, you could argue that the January transfer window is cost you, man. Madness.
Well, look, Fabregas, Van Persie, Alexis Sanchez, Ashley Cole. What did they all win? They went and won stuff when they left Arsenal, right? Because the ambition of the club didn't match theirs. If this carries on, this will happen to Saliba. This will happen to Gabriel. Declan Rice and Saka will say goodbye. Odegaard will. These players that everyone loves are not going to stay here because they love Arsenal and they're going to give us 10, 15 years of their time whilst everyone's winning stuff. They're going to go and win stuff. None of them were born, other than Saka, none of them were born here. They don't love the club like you think they do. Yeah? It's about winning and getting across the line.
Well, you're absolutely spot on. If you as an Arsenal fan gas up someone like Saliba and say, oh, he's world class, and I think he's a very good player, right? He's got 2 years left on his contract. What is he, 23, 24? If I'm him, because obviously, no doubt Arsenal are trying to get him to sign a new contract, right? They're not going to let this guy run the contract down. So they're already trying to get him to sign a new contract. I think that's a pretty reasonable assumption. I'm probably thinking, I'm going to wait a little bit here. I'm in no rush to sign a new contract. I've got 2 years left on my contract, yeah? Real Madrid, they're going to need centre-backs at some point. I'm just going to wait, and I'm going to put the pressure on the football club. And I'm not saying I'm leaving, but I'm going to let the club know that unless you start spending money and get this team to winning trophies, which is what I want to do, I'm going to wait and not sign that contract. And if in a year's time you've still not signed the players, I've got Real Madrid knocking at the door, then I might have to consider it. And listen, I don't think Saka would ever leave, regardless, because I think that guy loves the club. I think Declan Rice might be asking questions, you know what I mean? Because he obviously joined Arsenal to win stuff. Gabriel, I don't know his contract situation. Saliba's the worry for me if I was an Arsenal fan, because he's young, he's got 2 years left on his deal in the summer, which is not a long time, and you know that Real Madrid are going to be needing centre-back soon. So that's a problem, and if you don't win stuff, I think if you'll win something this year, I think he signs a dotted line, but yeah, it can spiral out of control. I've said about City, when we won one game out of 13, I said we can get out of this mess quickly as we got in it. Yeah, and then we put a big run together, we're back in the top four, and we're sort of like chilling now, yeah? With Arsenal, they're going out, they're going up, yeah? They've sort of come from 8th or wherever in the league, they've gone up, and now they're competing for the Premier League. But it can go down just as quickly as they got up there. If they don't push and these players get off, how are you going to replace Saliba, mate? You can't tell me that he's one of the best centre-backs in the league and then say, but if he leaves, we'll replace him easily. No, I don't work like that. Yeah, same with Gabriel and some of the other players, man. So, yeah, poor, really, really poor, man.
Some super chats here. This one from Robert. He says, Arsenal wants Sesko in the summer. The Watkins offer was PR. Okay, when you say it's PR, okay, Robert, I've heard a lot of people say that it's PR. How is it PR or good PR for Arsenal? For them, people say Arsenal made it up. They didn't really offer 60 million. The story has now come out from the person that most detractors of Arsenal say is a PR puppet for Arsenal, that they were actually offered Watkins at 60 million, but they weren't prepared to pay up. I don't see how that's good PR for Arsenal. I think that's bad PR for Arsenal. So the only reason I get confused about people calling, sometimes I agree that PR gets used, but we seem to pick and choose who and when and why and how the PR helps the club. I don't see how that is good PR for the football club to go and tell Warrington, let everyone know that we offered 40. We weren't prepared to go above it. That 60 million was too much. Let them see how good we are as a football club. Maybe they're that dumb. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't see how it's PR. It's not very good. It's the truth. They put in a bid. It got rejected. They were told 60 million. They said no. It's just the truth.
I think okay. So the way I'd say it's PR is that they knew that bid was never getting accepted. So it's all we tried.
Okay. That makes sense, but then they were offered the player. So initially, yeah, no, I get it from that side of things. But the person that they say is the PR puppet master is Ornstein. So why would Ornstein then tell the story that they then got offered him at 60 and they walked away? That makes Arsenal look stupid. So that's why I don't get it personally. I understand the logic of.
I definitely think there's an element of PR in that Watkins thing. I just think it was ridiculous. I think
what people are saying is because they will then turn around and say you didn't get a striker. Well, we tried to get Watkins. That's what people are saying. That was saying if we really wanted him, 60 million was the price. Go get it.
Yeah,
if you don't want him, move on, get someone else.
Not price either, really.
I don't think so.
It's just, this is one of the probably second best striker in the league last year. He was certainly up there. and
we'll pay
60 million
65 for
quid.
Havertz. Like,
No,
LB,
I
do you know
get
what I
that.
mean?
Maybe from my point of view, I'm just seeing it as no one's going to believe that's a good thing. That would be stupid PR. Gooners aren't that stupid. Football fans aren't that stupid. Maybe, I don't know. Just, I get your points. I'm just like, who'd read that and go, oh, yeah, well done then, Arsenal. I don't think any Gooner would they?
No,
Look, I think it stinks. I think it's Arsenal trying to pretend like they tried to do something and they never had any intention of doing it.
Ronin here says they probably saw City spend so much and still threw them a beating. What's the point? Saying they didn't spend when they were fourth in the payroll is wild.
Who doesn't spend?
I think he's trying to say are Arsenal fourth in the pay. So because you got is he trying to say because you got fourth highest wages, saying they don't spend his.
So that's it now then. So that's it. We start with it. Can't spend any more. We're never going to get any better.
I think that's what he's. I don't know what.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I think that's what he's saying because you've got the fourth highest wages in the league. That you shouldn't complain about them not spending money. I think that's what he's saying. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, let us know what you mean by that, Ronin, please. Thank you. Robert's back here. He says it was bad PR. Okay, bad PR would make more sense because why would you put in a bid so low and then at a later time of the window?
That's a good point.
Him go and splash it on the first on the 1st of January. Yeah, listen, I could hear that point. Maybe I'm just not as cynical. I feel like what I do think is PR is the responses that come afterwards when things don't go the way you want. Do you know why I don't think you bid for PR purposes? I don't necessarily dislike this pundit, but you remember when Eni Aluko did that whole thing? I think Arteta has asked Pep to put a bid in so that I can get the Kroenke to sanction it.
Talking about there?
But that's what this sounds like to me. I don't think a professional football club go through the process of talking to intermediaries, talking to agents, because the people that initially broke the story said they agreed personal terms with the player or personal terms would be no problem. I don't think you go through all those steps and then put in an official bid. Imagine if Villa accepted it. And then Arsenal then couldn't walk away from it. That's why I don't think you put in an official bid. That ain't real.
They were never, ever going to accept 45 million quid.
Maybe.
That's why it would be then PR because they were never accepting 45 million.
What I mean is, I just don't think football clubs would go through an official process and do that with each other.
Why did they not pay? Okay, so they put the 45 million pound bid in, yeah, which was never getting accepted, and apparently Villa have come back and said 60, which is an extra 15 million quid. But I think most people would say 60 million for Ollie Watkins is a fair price. It's not outrageous.
I agree.
So why did it not just, if it's not PR, why didn't it go, you know what, we're in a title race, yeah? We're in a Champions League race here. We're still in the Carabao Cup, as tricky as it's going to be. We need a striker, 60 million for a guy who scored, 20-odd goals last year. He's fast, he's quick, you can hit him on the break, he's decent in the air, he's experienced, he's Premier League proven. Why did they not, why then, if it's not PR, did they not go, you know what, lads, even if we only value him at 50 mil, 60 mil, it's worth the gamble because we're fighting on 3 foot. They just went 60 mil, no chance, no way we paid 60 mil. We're walking away. Why did they not go with a counter bid? Why did they not bid 53 million?
Because they've made a mistake. It's bad judgment. I think for me, I get the PR argument. I think they made a mistake here, Arsenal. I think they feel, well, no, we have a valuation. We're not going above it. We're sticking to our guns. Like I've said, I think that general approach in football transfers is why City have got so much money to spend. You rarely in the last 8 or 9 years have undersold and overpaid, which means you've always had an abundance of cash available whilst becoming successful, growing your revenues, etc. But there are times where I think that's a stupid decision. So as a general rule, I don't believe in this bullshit of it's not my money, just spend it. That's what Man United have done. Look where we are. Yep. I believe in this case, they should have gone to the 60 million. I think it's a mistake rather than PR. So for me, people say I'm protecting Arsenal. No, I'm saying they were incompetent.
Okay. Which is arguably maybe worse.
Which is worse. Yeah. I don't think it's what I mean. I don't think at that level, just maybe it's the job I had. And I used to deal with certain departments of clubs and that they don't strike me as the kind of people that would do this just so they could sell a media story. I could be wrong, But I just feel it was
Okay.
more incompetent.
So,
if
so
that
oh,
makes
yeah,
sense.
okay,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. So I think it's PR. You think it's incompetence. Both are very bad. You could argue that your version is worse. Yeah, I think it's shockingly bad, mate. Yeah, it's shockingly bad. And the thing is,
they made a
well,
mistake. Yeah, big time.
would you accept though? Right? Would you accept that unless Arsenal go out and spend what 150, 200 million this summer, that this probably was PR? If they go out in the summer and spend another 70 mil, then that probably proves it was PR.
If they, mate, I'm always open to my mind being changed. I think if they go out and sign a player only as good as Watkins, but drop £80 million on him in the summer, then absolutely. If they've got to go and either get Watkins in the summer for 40 million. So say they go out and buy Eucharist and they get Watkins. They want 2 strikers. I'm painting a hypothetical. And they get Watkins for 40 because Rashford's now staying because he's lit it up. And they then also go and get Šeško or they get Eucharist as well. Then I'd look at it and go, well, they stood their ground, got the player at the value they thought he was. If they buy someone, if they spend 70 on Watkins in the summer, then I absolutely agree. It sounds like a PR move. But yeah, I hear you on that completely. Let's go with some more of these super chats here. First one says, don't even care about the City result. Club's not serious. The result has given them a shield not to sign anyone. Top Gooners will run with it. Do you think if Arsenal would have lost the City, Potsy, you would have bought someone yesterday?
No, I just don't think there was any intention or ambition to buy anybody from dot. I think we floated around with the idea, and I think they've now said, nah, we'll wait till the summer, like we do every single winter transfer. No one available. Watkins, yeah, well, we don't believe he's 60 million. We'll put him 45, and then we'll say we tried, and then that'll be us. We'll be done. I genuinely think that's what it is. I don't think any of them have any idea or clue of what's going on at board level. I don't rate any of the people that are above Mikel Arteta at all. I don't rate Richard Garlick. I don't rate this Jason Ato guy who's just walked in the door to replace from Edu. I don't like Tim Lewis. I don't rate the Cronkies. That's where I'm at. Otherwise, look, if we were in 20 years they've been here and we would have gone and absolutely smashed it in terms of dominating football like Chelsea have done in the last 2 decades, I'd have no complaints, would I? But to have a handful of FA Cups and to do what we've done is absolutely shambolic, in my opinion.
NUFC, you're a long-time member of the Terrace and subscriber. I didn't say Arsenal are incompetent by and large. I said their decision around Watkins is incompetent. So again, like, don't take what I'm saying and say the cheeky YouTubers. I think he's worth 60 million. I think he could have been the difference between no trophies and trophies for Arsenal this year. So I believe it's an incompetent decision for them to say he's not worth it. You know, maybe
and you've also accepted that you might be wrong and I might be right on the PR.
Yeah, like I'm always open-minded.
Just a viewpoint, right?
It's just a view. Like, again, though, but don't take it, Gooners, as me saying Arsenal are incompetent in every single thing that they do, because that's just ridiculous. I'm not that polarized on the subject. Mark here says, unpopular opinion. If I told you we would have had all these injuries start of the season, I would have said no chance we win the league. The other controversy, underrated Arteta has kept us in KSE out. I was essentially saying, if at the start of the season you'd have been told that Arsenal would have all these injuries and they would still be in the title race, people would have said no chance. Yeah, probably, to be fair. Probably. You're right around that. And it's a fair statement to make. Arsenal want Šeško in the summer. The Watkins offer was PR. We don't have a sporting director. Sorry, I think I've already done that super chat. I'm being stupid. Sorry. Agree with Dan. Nobody can convince me that Mikel Arteta didn't want attackers in the summer and in January. KSE can't say you're backing him and then throw him under the bus with injuries. Say it louder for people in the back. That was to Dan's point earlier. Well, this one was for you, actually, earlier, LB, when you were talking about who would like to leave the club. He says, LB, would you keep Michael Oliver, though?
Michael Oliver, yeah, I'd keep him, bro. Yeah, because he rattles you enough. So yeah, I'd keep him. Give him a pay rise, man.
This year, Tel and Potts, just us two, mainly because we haven't spent any money. 150 million. Who do you sign in July?
Isak. Go again.
That'd show a pair of balls, wouldn't it? Yeah, I swear. You know, that's. I think. I mean, they did it with Rice, but the Rice one was slightly different in the sense that, like, you kind of knew you could get Rice. You know, I think Rice was ready for a move. He just won the Conference League. You know, I feel like but Isak's one where, like, you're going to have to wrestle with Newcastle to get him out. They are not going to want to sell him. They are not going to want to sell Isak at all. It's going to cost a lot of money. You know, he's got 3 years left on his deal. But if you get him...
That's why we need Isak to be like, I've had enough, I want to go. And the only way that's going to happen is if they finish low this season and drop out of Europe.
Yeah.
And I don't think they will.
I think in the Champions League.
Exactly.
For me, there'd be two. Frimpong, right wing back, and Victor Gyökeres. Pick up, I reckon 150 million for the two. One's got a buyout clause. That would be phenomenal business at that kind of price.
I think Frimpong's got a buyout clause, no?
I think he might have for about 60 odd million.
No, it's 35.
Or 35.
Wow, that's a steal.
So 35. So you could actually that'd be a total of 70 million. I've still got half of that to spend. And that's what I'm saying. That's why we get
Liverpool try to get him. I reckon Liverpool are going to get him.
Yeah, they might do. But he's a better wing back than he is right back, though. So hopefully our system can prevail and we say, well, we've actually got a wing back role. But yeah, I'd like, especially as Alonso's probably going to leave Leverkusen, I think it may be an easier time to convince a few of those talented Leverkusen players to leave, to be fair. But yeah, ideally, dream world.
I think Frimpong's family still live in Manchester as well.
Oh, there we go. Come on. I like that player. Lewis here says, it's always if Arsenal get this player, they win everything. But no one said that. That isn't what was said, or certainly not was implied. I'm saying that if they get Ollie Watkins, their chances of winning trophies increases. So for me, no one has said they're guaranteed to win everything with Ollie Watkins. But let's not pretend that there's not been a number of draws this season and games like against Man United in the FA Cup, that with a striker as compared to Kai Havertz in terms of clinical edge, that there isn't a higher chance they maybe have 3 more points or 4 more points in the league than now, and they're still in the cup competitions. So I don't think that is an unfair. I know you're a Liverpool fan and you want everything to be bigged up about. You'd still be the favourites. And as I've said, you're the best team in the world. So you get more praise than Arsenal. I've said you're the best team in the world. Please accept that. This here says a lot of people talk about how they shouldn't complain about the refs and shits Madrid as an example of high standard. And cite Madrid as example of high standards, though all the Madrid logging a complaint with the Spanish FA for poor refereeing against them.
Yeah, but you do this to take the pressure off your players and your manager. Yeah, it's a deflection tactic in my opinion. It's a conversation. I've always felt it's a combination of everything. I don't believe just having high standards makes your football team good or bad, because let's just say City get relegated because they're found guilty, hypothetical, and then Sheikh sells and you've got an owner like you had before him. No amount of high standards is ever going to get City back to the levels that they had under Sheikh Mansour. So I think in life sometimes it isn't just about your standards, it's about the reality of the situation you're in. We could also end up in a world, let's paint a big hypothetical, where every club has an owner as rich and as ambitious as Sheikh Mansour. We could all have the highest standards in the world. 3 of us are still getting relegated every year, and only 1 of us is winning the league. So I think having standards is important, but understanding the reality of your situation is also key. And you can still call out referees. I think everything's true at the same time. I really do. But I agree with what you said, LB, last week, that if you're a fan who just calls out the refs and you never blame your players, that's a problem. If you're someone that ignores bad refereeing, I think that's a problem. I think there's balance is needed in this world. I really fancy our chances in the Champions League with Partey and Rice pivots and our defence. If Arteta has faith in our press and does not give too much respect to European clubs, I'm confident against all but Liverpool. That's what JB says there about Arsenal.
More chance of going doing well in the Champions League than winning the Premier League is my honest opinion. I want the Champions League over the Premier League. I will say that. But I will say that I think that Liverpool are just going to be too good for us in the Premier League this season. I think that league is going to be sewn up in the coming weeks, not months. And then I look at the situation in the Champions League and I look at the draw that we could potentially get. It's going to be tough, man. We might be okay in the last 16. We're going to get PSV, Feyenoord, AC Milan or Juventus. But after that, you're looking at potentially getting a Bayern Munich or a Real Madrid and then a Liverpool in the semis. Or Barcelona in the semis. So yeah, it could be a very, very tricky run for us. But I would say we've got more chance in the Champions League than the league. I think the league's going to be really hard, really, really hard now.
Champions League it's doable. It's doable. Liverpool I just feel like Liverpool and Inter are the 2 teams for me. They're my number 1, number 2 favorites at the moment. They're just defensively crazy. I find it ironic. The same fan base that's saying everyone is triggered by us are the same ones that hold on to stay humble, for months, along with thinking there's a conspiracy theory against them. Look, I would say this. I think Arsenal fans would admit they get triggered by particular fan bases or certain clubs annoy them or they see them as rivals or they hate them. I think what I would say in the reverse to that is, and I'm talking Liverpool fans here, yesterday, young Tom Little's face when I was saying, why are Liverpool fans so stressed about Arsenal celebrations? He went, no, we're not. And then we put out a series of tweets from prominent Liverpool fan channels, Liverpool journalists, Liverpool fans, all getting mad about it. That's fine as well, but admit that at least admit you bothered by them. Don't pretend that they're irrelevant and then get bothered by them is what's being said, I think, Josh. You know, I will admit, like, City and Liverpool piss me off. They're my rivals. There's things I don't like them from a footballing standpoint, but I can admit that, you know? I think it's fair to admit that people treat it. When you pretend they don't. Like, there's a City fan I follow, Ryan, love the guy. He must tweet every day that Man United are irrelevant. And I follow it because I enjoy the fact that we're so irrelevant that he mentions us every day. That I find like your super chat, the irony in it is funny. If we're irrelevant, why are you talking about us? It's because Charlton are irrelevant to me. I don't talk about them. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's funny. I just enjoy. I don't understand why we get so triggered by the fan content. It's kind of what it's there for. I don't understand journalists and pundits downplaying needle and rivalry in the Premier League. Wasn't that one of the building blocks of the league? Football is built on it. It's good for numbers, surely. Yeah, I'm astonished by the media's attack on Arsenal this week for doing what loads of other clubs do. We all love Jamie Vardy for mocking people with celebrations. We all loved Neil Maupay doing the darts and stuff.
Yeah, I know. He's a funny guy, Neil Maupay, man.
Oh, he's hilarious. He is. Absolutely hilarious. But apparently, you're not allowed to do it. Gary Neville said it's out of order what Gabriel did. How dare he shout in Haaland's face? I hope Haaland's all right. I hope he's got over it. He must be seriously traumatized.
I'm pretty sure he's fine. This is the thing, bro. I'm a City fan and I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm game for it. I want more of it. I've said it. I think football's boring. I think it's well better when we have these like arguments and on pitch and stuff. I want to see more of it, man.
Agree. It's like I said about a month ago. I've probably had this for 2.5 years now. Terry, why did you say Arsenal was scary? I'm not scared of them. I'm like, okay, cool. Why are you so pressed then? Because if I sit here now in front of the boys and go, boys, got a confession about my life. Scared of the dark. If Potsy's reaction is, well, I ain't scared of the dark. Well, that tells me he is. Why get so angry about it? If you're not bothered, you don't react. That's a simple rule of life. Said we might go on a streak after the Villa game. Panel said I doubt it. Now we are on a 4-game winning streak. Hopefully we make it 5 tomorrow. It will be hard, to be honest. Players coming back is going to be crucial. When is Saka due back? Is it end of Feb?
I think it will be more like the end of March, but they are saying that it could be like optimistic to see him at his best again this season. I've kind of accepted he's not going to be at the best again this season, which is why I'm even more frustrated that we didn't bring anybody in. Gabriel Jesus is out for the season. Ben White will be back soon. Tommy Yasu, answers on a postcard, please. I haven't seen him all season. So yeah, he's I don't know what's going on with him. But yeah, no, Ben White's the only one, to be fair, that will be coming back, I believe, pretty soon. Everybody else, I think, is pretty much going to be long-term injury. So, yeah, frustrated. Look, players coming back is fair, but there is only really Ben White coming back in the coming weeks. I think Saka's going to be a while yet, and that Jesus is out. Yeah,
you can't rush him either, because you rush him and it goes again. It's bad. It's bad. Bashing Foden again. Shaking my head. Odegaard 2 goals all comp. Oh, you've walked into a trap.
I didn't compare him. I didn't compare him to Odegaard, though, did I? Like, this is the problem.
No. He walked into a trap here. Arsenal fans have been really slamming Odegaard all season. It's not the right example, bro. Try again. Who could we, Arsenal, have got that improved us?
Mamouche, Gonzalez,
Dorgu,
anyone
Rashford?
from Spain? Anyone from Spain or Portugal that's got release clauses?
Rashford.
There's no one available. That's what I mean. Spencer and co are like, well, there's no one out there available. We'll have to wait till the summer. Okay, cool.
Well, I think there are people available. Panel, you have a choice. Liverpool or Arsenal last 30 years. Who are you choosing based on trophies?
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Oh, 30 years. How many league titles Arsenal getting that time?
Bro, Liverpool have won what? 2 Champions Leagues in that
two
time?
Yeah,
no,
Liverpool got the most trophies in terms of Champions League, League Cups, FA Cup. We got FA Cups and leagues. We have got 4 titles.
Four titles. You did 2 doubles and Invincibles. Like it's not an easy decision, but I as a United fan, I want more Champions Leagues. I want more Champions Leagues.
2 Champions Leagues and a league is better than what? 4 leagues and some FA Cups.
Yeah, we've got 4 leagues, 4 leagues, a League Cup, FA Cup in that 30 years.
Fair.
FA Cups, should I say, doubles, Invincibles. So it's not like, wow, they leave us dead in the water. But, I mean, Liverpool you take because,
you know it's like, yeah, mine and LB's team clear of both in the last 30 years, haven't we, bruv? So it's all good. It's all good. We don't need to swap. Well, no, I wouldn't. Same Champions League numbers. Arsenal could have a good enough squad to win the Premier League or Champions League.
Yeah, but it's like, but bro, this is like settling for like the lowest of the low. It's like
I agree.
It's like I agree with you. You're factually correct, and I think everyone agrees. You have a squad that could win the Prem or the Champions, but you're accepting. It's like
what make it. It's good enough to win it. That's facts. LB's right, but you could make it even better. Yeah. It's not beyond improvement. Is what I would say.
Ambition, man. There's no ambition there, innit?
Why do it when Villa are selling the Ram for 75 million? Yeah, look, you've also got to look
at with that. There was the Watkins thing, just quickly on that, because look, as much as I agree with what Robert's saying there, the Duran stuff accelerated after we put the bid in for Watkins. So we put the bid in on the Monday for Watkins, if this is all believed to be true. And then all of a sudden by Tuesday, Wednesday, Duran's going off to Saudi. So then it was like, oh, great, bad timing. What I would come back and say today is, why the hell didn't we go and put in a bid for Watkins if that's the guy we wanted on the 3rd of January or the 2nd of January?
That's what I'm saying. Should have been done sooner. I agree. What celebration for each of you, like which celebration against you, I suppose, rattled you? Mine's easy. It was Gerrard kissing the camera. And then a few weeks later, when Makeda scored and he kissed the camera, I was so happy.
I'll tell you what rattled me, but then the week after it de-rattled me because he did it again, was when Trent last year shushed the fans at the Etihad and he equalised. He ran to the City fans and went like, I was rattled, right? But then the week after he scored and then did it to another fan base, I was like, oh, cool, it's chilling then. It's not just us.
Everyone.
If he would have never done it again, I'd be like, yo, he shushed us, man. But like he did it again to another fan base, and I was just like, it sort of like takes the edge off it a little bit, you know?
Gerrard kissing that camera, that wound me up for a long time. And Makeda obviously scored that massive goal against Villa and then did the same celebration, which put us ahead of them in the title race. But then I gave up. There's 2 things happened after that with Gerrard where it took that pain away. One, it's when he stamped on Herrera and got sent off when we battered them and outplayed them at Anfield on Wanfield Day. And then when he slipped, the slip, I no longer had any animosity towards Gerrard. It was like that slip took it all away. What about yours? What was the worst celebration? Was it Jesse Lingard moonwalking at the Emirates?
No, it's got to be Adebayor, man.
It's Adebayor.
That game, bro. They were stuck in chairs. Like, they were ripping the chairs out. Arsenal chairs. Bro, they was rattled that day.
That was the worst one.
But that for me is, I know it's a bit of a phrase that's being overused. That's prime Barclays, bro. That was when he's like, again, I watched it as a rival. I didn't like what City were doing. Obviously, they were on a bit, but I'm looking at that going, yes, bro, I love it. Oh, mate, some of the things. I'll tell you what, when a celebration, but I loved when Wenger got sent off against United and then when stood in the crowd with his arms out, like that is, it's just like
that's iconic. That's iconic.
That could literally only happen to Wenger, that as well. Yeah, but the Adebayor one, I'm pretty sure he got banned for it. It was that bad. Like I'm pretty sure he got banned.
It was horrendous. It was so
he got like a free match ban.
The thing is, he wouldn't even mind so much if he would have scored up that end, and he would have just gone up and just knee slide in front of the crowd. But the way he went running the whole length of the pitch.
That's why it's so funny. I remember being at that game, I remember celebrating the goal, and they're like, you're celebrating with your mates and that, yeah, and then you turn around and look at him, and I remember I was like, he's still running. And I said, he's still running. And then I seen it, and then it was just hilarious. we were all laughing our head. And then the next thing, you started seeing blue chairs being thrown and everything. It was like,
it's
oh,
crazy.
Henry did it similarly to Spurs fans in 2001, 2002. He literally got the ball, run it around the whole of their team, put it in the net, and then just went run up the other end, just knee slided in front of them. That was class, to be fair.
Who was the one? Who was the Liverpool? It was the Suarez.
Suarez when he dived in front of Moyes.
When he dived in front of Moyes, that was a big one as well.
I think, but I also, speaking of Suarez, because of obviously the disgusting things he did when we beat them after the Evra situation, and then Evra
started celebrating.
Yeah, Evra celebrating in front of him, but with a severed hand that somebody like someone had bitten it off as well. And that was just an amazing. I mean, obviously the scenario and situation was awful, but again, it's as a fan being just that game. I remember going to that game, and I remember getting picked up really, because that was still when most of United's Liverpool games always used to have to kick off at around 12:30, so people couldn't drink. But all we did, right, and we did this when I lived in Manchester, and then when I used to drive up on the coaches, we just leave extra early and start drinking at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, it didn't really matter; everyone would just drink. But I remember going to that game so up for it. It was like we were going to a fight. It sounds weird. It felt like we were going to a fight that day. Oh, it was beautiful, man. It was horrible but beautiful at the same time. Panel, what are your top 4 predictions now?
Let me have a look at the league table, Premier League table. So I think Liverpool win the league. Arsenal come second.
You go on, say it.
Forest, I think Forest are going to come third. And I think City will come fourth. And that fifth one, I don't know, it's between Chelsea and Newcastle for me, but I can't call it, man. I think them two are like,
I'm going with Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Forest, Chelsea.
Do you think we overtake Forest? I don't think we overtake Forest.
I just got to feel. I just don't feel like you're going to get your recruitment wrong for like the third time running.
You've not seen our fixtures, Terry.
Yeah.
Let me read these fixtures out for you. Yeah. So we got Newcastle, Liverpool, Spurs, Forest, Brighton in our next 5 games.
Ooh, yeah, you'll win 3 of them. How many? 3. Now you bought a midfielder, 3 of them. I think this midfielder is going to work. I'll be honest with you. I've got a horrible. I think you'll beat Brighton.
Right. Okay.
Forest home or away?
Forest away. We ain't beating them away.
Okay. Who else you playing?
So we got Newcastle at home, Liverpool at home, Spurs away, Forest away.
Beat Newcastle, beat Spurs, beat Brighton. Those are the 3 wins. I've got a feeling it's a horrible gut feeling of pending doom that your midfielder is going to work. I've just got a feeling your midfielder.
I hope so. I've got to wait until I can get my chest out. I struggle to see more than 1 win there, 2 wins max. I need to see it, man. I can't start a play and be like, yeah, that's going to be good. I don't know the guy. He's never seen the guy play. So I will reserve judgment until I've watched this guy.
I feel that. I've just got a horrible gut feeling. Maybe it's just fear of it happening. What about yours, Potsy? You going with, brother?
Forest are the ones, man. I thought they were going to slip off towards 6th by now, but they're not. They're staying there, man. I think they're going to get top 4. I'm going to go for Liverpool to win it, Arsenal 2nd. I'm going to go City 3rd, Forest 4th, and Newcastle 5th. Get Chelsea out of there.
That'd be fun. Watch Watkins press Celtic in the 93rd minute for the 4th goal. Always say we need someone with Havertz's work rate but clinical. Watkins is that. He's technical and very disrespected in terms of numbers.
His numbers are there, man, to be fair. His numbers are there consistently.
It's a good player. Ronan actually did come back to us. He says spending includes salaries. Arsenal can win. It's not a spending issue. They just don't spend, is what he's saying. I do agree. They should have spent last summer to get cover for Saka. And AMT says, sorry, mate. He says AMT. He says for me, Wolves controversy made Arsenal more motivated. Could be wrong though.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't really know that is the case. I think there was a bit of frustration. I hope it did rile us up. We need to go on a run, so hopefully we can do something tomorrow night, and then we go to Dubai, and then after that, let's try and replicate what we did in Dubai last year, man, because it worked. We only lost to Villa and drew to City. Everything else we won. So in that 16 games, that's what we did. We got to go do that in the next 14 when we come back from Dubai. So let's see what happens.
There we go. Look, LB, Potsy, always a pleasure to sit here and talk ball with you. To our viewers, to our subscribers, thank you. To all of the super chatters, you're amazing. This is going to redirect you to MHF, Mo and Hassam's channel. So go and check them out. Go and support them and subscribe. Obviously, go and follow Dan Potts' channel, The 12th Man. And, of course, It's LB. It's LB. Just It's LB. You'll find him. Go watch the watch-alongs. A thing of beauty. And you might not get many City losses again next season, so enjoy it this year. If that's all you're tuning in for, go and enjoy it. Great content as ever. Oh, sorry, the Balotelli celebration with the shirt.
Yeah, that's a good one. Why always me? That's a good one.
That triggered me as well. That was just after he set the fireworks off at his house, wasn't it, or something like that?
That guy was mad. Absolutely mad.
Take care, people. God bless, and we'll see you soon. Peace.